Chapter 845 The Ring of Life and Death. Everyone was shocked when they heard that. Their eyelids twitched. It seemed that Yen Qingfeng was determined to kill Lin Xian. Otherwise, he would not have invited him to the Ring of Life and Death. One must know that the Immortal Martial Academy forbade students from killing each other. For example, in the battle between Lin Xian and Yen Qingyang, Lin Xian had only injured his opponent. He had not killed him. Therefore, if they were to fight now, Yen Qingyang could only defeat Lin Xian, but not kill him. However, the Ring of Life and Death was different. It was a place that the college had set aside for students to settle their disputes. Fights were inevitable between martial artists. Especially these geniuses, they were arrogant and did not want to admit defeat. If a martial artist in the college had reached a point where he would fight to the death, he could apply for the Ring of Life and Death. Now, Yen Qingfeng had invited Lin Xian to a Ring of Life and Death. The Ring of Life and Death. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes when he heard that. He had heard of the Ring of Life and Death and knew the rules. Once they entered the Ring of Life and Death, only one of them could survive. It seemed that Yen Qingfeng was determined to kill him. However, that was good too. The grudge between him and the Yen family was irreconcilable. Instead of leaving a scourge in the future, it was better to get rid of this genius now. Moreover, Yen Qingfeng was ranked 30th on the Mystic Venerable leaderboard. If he could defeat Yen Qingfeng, Lin Xian's ranking would jump from 70th to 30th. No matter how one looked at it, Lin Xian would benefit greatly. Therefore, he had no reason to refuse. 10 days later, the Ring of Life and Death will be as you wish. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous and his gaze was resolute. The crowd was shocked. Many people exclaimed. They did not expect Lin Xian to accept the Ring of Life and Death. Did he not know his opponent's strength? Yen Qingfeng was a third-level venerable. Moreover, he was not an ordinary third-level venerable. He was a genius and a senior in Senmu College. He must have many trump cards in his hands. Such a person far surpassed those of the same level. Although Lin Xian was strong and could battle across realms, he could at most kill a second heaven venerable realm cultivator. Against a prodigy like Yen Qingfeng, he was not enough. In fact, it was very likely that he would be killed instantly. Yen Qingfeng smiled cruelly when he heard Lin Xian's reply. I advise you to enjoy your last moments, because in 10 days I will definitely cut you down with my blade. He sneered, turned around, and left with the people of Daoling Association. Yen Qingyang looked at Lin Xian, his eyes full of mockery and disdain. Lin Xian actually dared to engage in a death match with his brother. He was really courting death. He couldn't wait to enjoy the scene of Lin Xian being killed 10 days later. Thinking of this, Yen Qingyang felt a twisted sense of pleasure. Are you confident? Murong Qingqing asked from the side. I'm not very sure. Only about 30 to 40%. Lin Xian said he knows that Yen Qingfeng is definitely a very difficult opponent, so he's not arrogant. Only 30 to 40%? Murong Qingqing opened her eyes wide and complained. You actually dared to accept a death match with such a low success rate. I really don't know what you're thinking. Don't worry, there are still 10 days. Lin Xian smiled and comforted her. If I can break through to the second heaven venerable realm within 10 days, then my chances of winning will greatly increase. By then there might be a miracle. Break through? Murong Qingqing rolled her eyes at him. It seems that you've already thought about it. Why didn't you say so earlier? You made me worry for nothing. Oh, were you worried about me just now? Lin Xian suddenly smiled and said, To be able to get your concern, Goddess Murong, I have no regrets even if I die. He laughed and turned to walk toward the middle-level spirit gathering array. You, who cares about you? Murong Qingqing's face was slightly red, and she stomped her feet in anger. It could be said that it was very urgent to break through to the second heaven venerable realm in 10 days. but Lin Xian had such confidence. The battle in Wind-Seeking City a few days ago had benefited him a lot. His spiritual energy value had already reached the peak of the first heaven venerable realm. As long as he was guided, he would be able to smoothly break through to the second heaven venerable realm. This was the benefit of fighting. This was also why countless warriors wanted to fight with their lives on the line. In battle, they could improve their skills and strengthen their martial skills. If they were lucky, they could even break through directly. And Lin Xian was fighting with the top experts. Every battle was very exciting and intense, so the speed of his breakthrough was far faster than his peers. 5 days later, Lin Xian successfully broke through, and the spiritual energy in his body almost doubled. Not only that, he felt that his relationship with the great dragon Sword Soul had become even closer. The kind of easy control made him unable to stop. It had to be said that the increase of his cultivation was extremely beneficial to him. Lin Xian estimated that his current strength had doubled compared to before. Now, Lin Xian was confident that he could easily defeat Shangguan Xian, Kuang Zhan, and the others. With his current strength, he would not feel any pressure against an ordinary third heaven venerable. Even if he were to face a genius warrior like Yan Qingfeng, he was confident that he could win. Therefore, Lin Xian was not worried about the battle in 5 days. In the following days, Lin Xian began to consolidate his cultivation and comprehend other martial arts. Soon, 10 days had passed. The entire Senmu College was in a frenzy of excitement. That was because today was the battle between Yan Qingfeng and Lin Xian. This was not an ordinary battle. First of all, both of them were experts on the mystic venerable leaderboard. Between them, Yan Qingfeng was more eye-catching. As a third heaven venerable and a genius warrior ranked 30th on the mystic venerable society, he could be said to be very dazzling. Moreover, the battle between the two of them was not an ordinary battle. It was a battle of life and death. This kind of battle was extremely intense. Usually, the battle would only end when one side died. Senmu College rarely had this kind of battle in recent years. That was why everyone was so excited. Moreover, Lin Xian had a half Earth-rank treasure in his hands. This was one of the reasons why everyone was looking forward to it. One had to know that although everyone did not think that Lin Xian would win, if he used the Lone Star Sword, he could contend with Yan Qingfeng for a while. However, it was almost impossible for him to turn the tables. At most, it would allow Lin Xian to hold on for a while longer. This analysis was made by the experts of the college. In their opinion, this was already very impressive. According to their estimates, if Lin Xian did not use the Lone Star Sword, he would not even be able to block one attack. On this day, the weather was clear and the wind was gentle. In Senmu College, countless disciples were running in one direction. Everyone had an excited expression on their faces. At this moment, in a corner of Senmu College, there was a huge arena. This arena was very old and was filled with an aura of vicissitudes. It was an ancient arena. It was said that this arena was built by a king. Venerables below the king realm could not destroy it at all. It was most suitable for extremely intense battles like life and death battles. Chapter 846. At this moment, the surroundings of the life and death ring were crowded with people. These people were all students of Senmu College. There were even a few elders and deacons who came to watch the battle. Of course, they were not just here to watch the battle. They had another purpose, which was that the life and death ring could only be activated by them. Not long after, a group of people walked over from afar. They were from Dao Ling Association. The person in the lead was dressed in a white robe. He had a handsome face and a burly figure. He was like a young god of war with a powerful aura. Yan Qingfeng. When the crowd saw the white-robed figure, they immediately exclaimed. It was Yan Qingfeng. Behind him were Yan Qingyang and the others from Dao Ling Association. Yan Qingfeng led the crowd to the life and death ring. He bowed slightly to the elders. Then he took a step forward and arrived at the ring like a bolt of lightning. He stood with his hands behind his back like a javelin. He closed his eyes and waited quietly. Other than the elders of the college, Yan Qingfeng did not care about anyone else. He only had one goal today, which was to kill Lin Xian. Everyone was astonished and began to whisper to each other. Yan Qingfeng was too confident. He did not take this battle seriously at all. In fact, this was very normal. Yan Qingfeng's cultivation was at the third heaven of the Venerable Realm. Moreover, he was a top expert ranked 30th on the Mystic Venerable leaderboard. Other than those ranked above him, he did not care about anyone else at all. Even those ranked higher than him would not be willing to fight with him unless they had no other choice. After all, at their level of cultivation, they would always have some trump cards. Those things were very deadly. Not long after Yan Qingfeng's arrival, many other martial artists walked over. A few of them were very eye-catching. One of them was a young man in a purple robe. This young man's face was pale, as if he had not seen the sun for a long time. What was even more strange was that his eyes were purple. As his eyes moved, there was a demonic aura. Behind him was a group of powerful warriors from the college. Yi Yan. Seeing the purple figure, the crowd's hearts trembled. Their eyes were filled with shock. It was because the aura that this young man in a purple robe emitted was not weaker than Yan Qingfeng's at all. It was even stronger. Yi Yan was also a third heaven of the Venerable Realm genius. He was ranked 25th on the Mystic Venerable leaderboard. At the same time, he was also the leader of the Purple Robe Pavilion. Regardless of cultivation or power, he was above Yan Qingfeng. Who would have thought that Yan Qingfeng's battle to the death would actually draw him here? Everyone exclaimed. At the same time that Yi Yan arrived, on the other side, a group of people were also rushing over. These people were dressed in blue and had the same pattern drawn on their bodies. It was an ice flower. The ice flower was blue and lifelike, emitting a cold aura. The leader of this group of people was a young girl wearing a blue dress. The young girl was beautiful and her eyes were clear, but her body carried a bone-piercing chill. With their arrival, the temperature of the entire space continued to drop, as if it had fallen into winter. "Snow Lady!" Everyone exclaimed again as they circulated their spiritual energy to resist the chill. Snow Lady, an ice-based warrior. She was extremely powerful and ranked 17th on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard. Her eyes were cold as she scanned the surroundings. Then, she found a place and quietly waited for the battle to begin. In addition, another group of people had arrived. There were only 7 or 8 people in this group. However, no one dared to underestimate them because these people were too powerful. Each of them emitted a powerful aura that connected together. It was terrifying. The Gathering of Heroes was a very special organization. They had very few people, but every one of them was a powerhouse and could not be underestimated. The arrival of this group of people caused the entire space to fall into an extremely oppressive atmosphere. It could not be helped. These people's auras were too powerful. Although they did not deliberately release their auras, it was not something that ordinary warriors could withstand. One of them had an ordinary appearance, but his eyes were unusually sharp like a demonic beast. It made one's heart tremble. Lone Wolf, ranked 33rd on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard. His fighting style was extremely cruel, and very few people dared to provoke him. The arrival of Lone Wolf and the rest caused Yan Qingfeng to open his eyes. He nodded at Lone Wolf and the rest as a form of greeting. Lone Wolf also grinned. Then he looked around and scanned the surroundings. In the next moment, his face darkened. Humph! This Lin Xian is really arrogant. He actually made so many of us wait for him. Lone Wolf's voice was cold and his tone was filled with dissatisfaction. The crowd was silent and did not dare to speak. It was obvious that Lone Wolf and Yan Qingfeng were in cahoots. At that moment, they were obviously targeting Lin Xian. I came late because I wanted to give some people more time to live. Since you don't appreciate my kindness, then forget it. A faint voice resounded and lingered in the surroundings. It was clearly heard. Humph! What arrogance! Lone Wolf frowned and snorted coldly. On the fighting ring, Yan Qingfeng suddenly opened his eyes and looked forward. His gaze was like a sharp sword that pierced through the void. The surrounding warriors were also shocked. They knew that Lin Xian had arrived. The crowd turned around and saw a group of warriors walking over from behind. The person at the front was Lin Xian. Today, Lin Xian wore a black shirt that fit him perfectly. On his back, he carried the Lone Star sword. His expression was calm and his footwork was steady. He was like a sword immortal, calm and confident. That aura was very special, making people feel that it was very mysterious. Beside him was Morong Qingqing, who was dressed in white. Her face was unparalleled and her temperament was extraordinary. She was like a fairy. Behind Lin Xian, there were hundreds of warriors. These people were naturally members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion. Today was the day of their boss's life and death battle. No one was left behind. More than 500 people gathered together, forming a terrifying aura. Their clothes were the same, and their footwork was the same. When they stepped on the ground, they emitted an indescribable rhythm, causing the entire ground to tremble. So strong! Was this Lin Xian's strength? The gods were shocked and could not believe it. They knew that Lin Xian had established the Dragon Sword Pavilion, but they had never thought that the Dragon Sword Pavilion would develop so quickly. Now that it had reached such a scale, it was truly shocking. When Lone Wolf saw the 500 people from the Dragon Sword Pavilion, his expression changed slightly. He snorted coldly and said, "Today is a life and death battle. No matter how many people you bring, it's useless. I brought these people not to help me fight, but to clean up the trash." Lin Xian said indifferently, "This fly is too annoying. Which one of you will chase him out?" Hearing this, everyone was shocked and their hearts trembled violently. Fly. Lin Xian actually called Lone Wolf a fly. Was he courting death? One had to know that Lone Wolf was a genius expert, ranked 33rd. In addition to his violent fighting style, his combat strength was not weaker than Yan Qingfeng's. Lin Xian actually called such a person a fly. No one dared to imagine what kind of anger Lone Wolf would erupt. Sure enough, after hearing Lin Xian's words, Lone Wolf's face darkened, and a terrifying killing intent erupted from his body. "Kid, you'd better kneel down and kowtow to apologize. Otherwise, I guarantee that you won't have to go to the life and death arena. You'll die here." Lone Wolf's voice was cold, like a sharp blade that quickly cut through the void. Chapter 847. On the other hand, Yen, Snow Lady, and the rest narrowed their eyes as if they were watching a show. Lin Xian ignored Lone Wolf's threat and shook his head slightly as he spoke to Dongfang Xiong. "Dongfang, throw this guy out. I don't want to see him. I don't want to affect my mood for the competition." "Don't worry, Brother Xian." Dongfang Xiong laughed foolishly and took a step forward. His entire body exuded a dragon elephant aura. Following his action, the 500 members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion behind him roared in unison. How dare he insult their boss? He deserved to die. They didn't care if he was an expert on the sublime, venerable leaderboard. As long as he dared to insult their boss, he would be sent flying. 500 people gathered together. Their aura was terrifying. Moreover, these people weren't weak. More than half of them had entered the supremacy realm. With so many cultivators gathered together, not to mention the third-level venerated realm experts, even the elders' expressions changed drastically. They couldn't fight back. They couldn't fight back at all. Back then, Lin Xian had led 50 supremacies and barged into the Vientiane auction. Now, the members of the Dragon Sword Pavilion were 10 times more than before. Their power was also 10 times more than before. Terrifying spiritual energy soared from the 500 people. It formed a huge hand in the air and slammed down. "You're courting death. Die!" Lone Wolf roared. An extremely powerful aura erupted from his body as he fought against the huge hand in the sky. However, everything he did was in vain. Although he was a third-level supremacies and there was a suppression between supremacies, he wasn't facing one person. He was facing 500 experts. All 500 of them were geniuses. Although they weren't as strong as him, their talents weren't any weaker than his. Now that the 500 people had gathered together, he couldn't fight back at all. Poof! A string of blood splattered down from the sky as Lone Wolf was sent flying. The void was torn apart. His body was like a shooting star as he instantly disappeared into the horizon. Silence. Absolute silence. All the martial artists around the life and death ring were stunned. The powerful Lone Wolf, an expert ranked 33rd on the Sublime Venerable leaderboard, was sent flying just like that. Seeing the members of the Dragon's Sword Pavilion, everyone gasped. They didn't dare to be presumptuous. In the life and death ring, Yan Qingfeng frowned. The other party's society was indeed a terrifying force that could even threaten him. But so what? Today's match was a battle of life and death. No one could help Lin Xian. In a one-on-one battle, Yan Qingfeng had absolute confidence. Although you can make Lone Wolf leave the stage, it's all in vain. On the life and death arena, no one can help you. Once you lose the support of a force, you are nothing. Killing you is as easy as flipping my hand. Is that so? I look forward to it. Lin Xian smiled faintly. He slowly walked forward with steady steps. A powerful sword will gushed out from his body. On the other side, Yan Qingfeng also exuded a terrifying aura that was filled with murderous intent. Moreover, it contained the powerful aura of a third sky venerable realm cultivator, which pressed down on Lin Xian. The two auras clashed in the void, creating a terrifying sound of collision. Yan Qingfeng looked disdainful. He was 2 levels higher than Lin Xian. He could crush Lin Xian to death with his aura alone. He knew that too. Therefore, before going on the stage, he wanted to use his cultivation to humiliate Lin Xian. He wanted Lin Xian to know the consequences of offending the Yan family. However, to his surprise, Lin Xian was not pressed down. Instead, Lin Xian blocked his aura. How is that possible? The others were shocked too. They did not expect Lin Xian to be able to block it. Lin Xian smiled faintly. I can tell from your expression that your plan has failed again. Although I don't want to admit it, I still have to say that I seem to be the nemesis of the Yan family. Therefore, you have to be careful. Don't die because of me. Humph. Yan Qingfeng snorted. He squinted his eyes and stared at Lin Xian. Then he looked surprised. You've broken through. No wonder you're so arrogant. Even if you're a second sky venerable, it's still not enough. I'll let you know how big the gap between us is. Cherish this moment. Today will be the last time you're arrogant. Lin Xian shook his head slightly and walked towards the combat ring quickly. With every step he took, the sword intent on his body grew stronger. In the end, the entire space was shrouded by the terrifying sword light as if it was going to tear the 9 heavens apart. The surrounding crowd was shocked and retreated quickly. They could not withstand the pressure of the aura. Then, Lin Xian stepped onto the combat ring. Sword Qi exploded like a peerless sword and slashed forward. Too powerful. Lin Xian was like a sword god. He was extremely sharp and pointed his sword at Yan Qingfeng. Activate. As Lin Xian stepped onto the combat ring, the surrounding elders of the academy shouted. Then they waved their hands and injected spiritual energy into the combat ring. In the end, the entire combat ring shook rapidly and formed a sealed space. Only when one party died would the combat ring open again and release the winner. Otherwise, both parties would be sealed in the combat ring. This was the combat ring. Once one entered the combat ring, life and death would be decided immediately. Only those who were alive could leave the combat ring. Looking at Lin Xian opposite him, Yan Qingfeng became extremely cold. A violent and cold murderous aura was released from his body and quickly spread in all directions. In his eyes a cold blade flashed. Today he was going to kill his opponent and take the Lone Star sword to clear the name of his family. Kid, although you've broken through to the second sky of the honorable realm, you're still nothing in front of me. Take out the Lone Star sword. Otherwise, you won't stand a chance. Hearing this, many people nodded in agreement. Indeed, although Lin Xian was powerful, the gap between them was too big. If he did not use the Lone Star sword, he would have been killed instantly. However, Lin Xian smiled faintly. Since you're so eager to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Then, he slowly took out the Lone Star sword from his back. Hearing this, many people shook their heads. They all thought that Lin Xian had gone overboard. One should know that even with the Lone Star sword, he could at most fight evenly with Yan Qingfeng. It was impossible for him to defeat Yan Qingfeng. However, Lin Xian was extremely confident. After he had broken through to the second sky of the honorable realm, his chances of winning had increased to 80%. This was still under the condition that he did not use the Lone Star sword. If he used the Lone Star sword now, he would definitely win. In fact, in his opinion, if he used the Lone Star sword, this battle would become very meaningless. However, this was a battle of life and death. He could not afford to be careless. In a battle of this nature, he had to be fast, ruthless, and accurate. Therefore, even if Yan Qingfeng did not say it, he had decided to use the Lone Star sword to end the battle quickly. Opposite him, Yan Qingfeng snorted. In his opinion, even if Lin Xian had the Lone Star sword, he would definitely be able to kill his opponent. This was because he was not an ordinary third sky of the honorable realm. He was a genius martial artist. Chapter 848. Yan Qingfeng was very confident. Regardless of whether Lin Xian used the Lone Star sword or not, he would still be able to kill him. He was very confident in his own strength. He extended his palm, and a snow-white long saber appeared in his hand. The saber radiance flickered and cut through the void easily. Needless to say, it was a treasured saber. With the saber in hand, Yan Qingfeng's entire body became sharp. His aura was unbearable. Next, you will know how big the gap between us is. Even if you have the Lone Star sword, you won't be able to make up for it. He snorted coldly and waved his arm. The snow-white long saber fell, bringing with it a strong gust of wind. Along with it was a dazzling saber radiance that merged into one. The crowd was shocked and their hearts trembled. Yan Qingfeng was too powerful. Just a normal attack was unbearable. He was indeed a genius martial artist who was ranked 30th on the Mystic Honorable Leaderboard. Lin Xian's expression was grave. Yan Qingfeng's attack could threaten his safety. He used the illusory demonic steps and dodged quickly. At the same time, he waved the long sword in his hand. He became one with the sword and charged toward Yan Qingfeng. You want to fight in close combat? You're courting death. Yan Qingfeng sneered. The saber in his hand flickered even more. With his earth-rank body movement, Lin Xian was very fast. He arrived in front of Yan Qingfeng in an instant. The next moment, the great dragon's sword soul exploded. A shocking murderous aura and a blood-red sword radiance accompanied the Lone Star sword as it pierced forward. In an instant, the entire sky was dyed red as if hell had descended. Boom! Poof! With one strike, the two of them quickly moved to opposite ends of the arena. That's fast. What happened? The crowd was anxious and discussed quickly. They could not see the attack clearly at all. They could only feel the horrifying power spreading in all directions. The Lone Star sword is only SOSO. Yan Qingfeng turned around and sneered. However, before he could finish his sentence, his expression changed drastically. His entire face was distorted. Poof! The next moment, blood spurted out of his right arm like a river of blood. It was terrifying. His entire right arm was separated from his body and fell to the ground. Ah, my arm! What happened? The crowd was stunned and could not believe it. At that moment, everyone was stunned. It was as if they were dreaming. The powerful Yan Qingfeng's arm was cut off? This was too unbelievable. Lin Xian! How is Lin Xian? Everyone hurriedly turned their heads and looked to the other side. They knew that the moment they exchanged blows, the two of them must have had an intense collision. Otherwise, such a shocking thing would not have happened. God, he's fine! Someone cried out in alarm, not daring to believe it. Lin Xian stood proudly with his sword in his hand. His sleeves were torn, and the cut was even. It was cut by the long blade, but his body was unharmed. With one strike, Yan Qingfeng was defeated. The previously incomparably arrogant and domineering Yan Qingfeng was actually defeated in one move. Was Lin Xian too terrifying, or was the Lone Star sword too powerful? The crowd did not know, but they knew that Yan Qingfeng had lost the match. Without his right arm, his battle prowess would definitely drop drastically. How could he possibly withstand the Lone Star sword's attacks? And the consequence of failure was death. Impossible, this is impossible. Outside the arena, Yan Qingyang was trembling in disbelief. He knew his elder brother's strength. Even a third-level honorable realm of the older generation was no match for him. However, such a person had actually been defeated. Furthermore, he had been defeated in a single move. Just how powerful was Lin Xian? The Tao Spirit Association side was dead silent, but the Dragon Sword Pavilion side was jubilant. Murong Qingqing's beautiful eyes also turned, her face full of surprise. Yi Yan, Snow Lady, and the rest were also extremely shocked. They did not expect such a situation either. What a fast sword! In the distance, a few elders of the academy exclaimed, looking at Lin Xian with sparkling eyes. This kid is incredible. Even without the Lone Star sword, he can still win. However, the Lone Star sword has shortened the process infinitely. Yes, such a fast sword is very rare among the younger generation. Not bad, not bad. Perhaps he is qualified to enter that place. A few elders conversed, and they were very optimistic about Lin Xian. In the life and death ring, Yan Qingfeng's body trembled. He looked at the severed arm and fell into a daze. This should not be. This was not the result he had expected. How could his opponent have such a powerful attack? The Lone Star sword, it must be the Lone Star sword. His eyes were filled with madness as he stared ahead. Is this the power of a half-Earth-rank treasure? So powerful. I must get it. He roared to the sky, and the aura on his body erupted like a flood. Boom! The void exploded, and a black lightning bolt floated in the sky with terrifying power. Die, brat! Yan Qingfeng roared and released his martial soul to attack. Rumble! In an instant, lightning surged, shattering everything. The sea of lightning surged, and it was extremely terrifying. This scene was too terrifying. The entire sky was a sea of lightning, and it quickly enveloped Lin Xian. Gulp! Countless people swallowed their saliva. This kind of attack was terrifying. Even a third-rank honorable would be turned into ashes in an instant. Lin Xian also felt the danger. Without hesitation, he quickly held the Lone Star sword with both hands and displayed the great dragon sword soul to the extreme. Gale Lightning Sword. 3 moves frighten ghosts and gods. A sword chi as thick as a mountain and as fierce as a sword god quickly slashed down. Boom! The void trembled, and the endless sea of lightning swayed before it was mercilessly cut open. The scene was terrifying. It was as if the dark night had been forcefully torn open by a pair of large hands. Countless rays of light surged in, and the sky regained its clarity. The entire life and death ring trembled. If not for the special material, it would have been destroyed long ago. Drip, drip. There was a pool of blood dripping in front, but Yan Qingfeng's figure had disappeared. Gulp! Countless people swallowed their saliva with difficulty, unable to believe what had happened. Another sword. In just one sword, Yan Qingfeng was dead. Throughout the entire process, Lin Xian had only attacked twice. However, these 2 attacks had taken Yan Qingfeng's life. The first attack had cut off Yan Qingfeng's right arm, directly destroying all of Yan Qingfeng's beliefs. The second attack had directly killed Yan Qingfeng. The entire process was very short, and it took less than half an hour. No, this can't be real. Demon, demon! Below! Yan Qingyang screamed in horror, and his body trembled. In the next moment, he turned around and fled. Yan Qingfeng was dead, and he did not even have the courage to face Lin Xian. The martial artists of Dao Ling Association also quickly retreated, disappearing into the crowd. Everyone knew that from today onwards, Dao Ling Association no longer existed. Buzz! On the life and death ring, the special enchantment disappeared. The entire ring quickly faded, and it fell into a deep sleep again. Brother Xian! Brother Xian! The people of Dragon Sword Pavilion shouted crazily. They were too excited. Lin Xian's strength had shocked their new god. This was their boss, the boss of Dragon Sword Pavilion. At this moment, the people of Dragon Sword Pavilion were extremely excited. They realized that joining Dragon Sword Pavilion was the best choice. Chapter 849. The news that Lin Xian had defeated Yan Qingfeng spread like wildfire throughout Senmu College. Everyone knew that this new student was too amazing. He had risen to power and would definitely be one of the top fighters in the college in the future. Lin Xian had defeated Yan Qingfeng and was ranked 30th on the Mystic Sovereign leaderboard. This advancement speed was terrifying. It was probably rare in Senmu College for the past 100 years. His Mystic Sovereign mirror had evolved again, and it was accompanied by rich spiritual qi. The spiritual qi was too rich. With the Mystic Sovereign mirror, he did not need to go to the intermediate spiritual tower anymore. Therefore, he went into seclusion after returning to experience the benefits of the Mystic Sovereign mirror. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. However, on this day, Lin Xian had a guest in his courtyard. It was a delicate and cute girl with big eyes and long black hair. She looked like a little fairy. This young girl was wearing a long blue and white dress. There was an ice flower painted on the cuffs of her sleeves. It was as if it was real, and it was emitting traces of coldness. You are. Lin Xian was stunned when he saw the girl. He did not know her, but he had seen the symbol on her clothes before. 2 days ago, when he was in a death match, there was a group of people wearing the same clothes near the arena. I'm Shui Man, the girl said softly. I'm from the Ice and Snow Pavilion in the Self-Study Institute. Ice and Snow Pavilion. Lin Xian nodded slightly. He remembered very clearly that the person who led the Ice and Snow Pavilion that day was a girl with long silver hair. She was terrifyingly powerful and even stronger than Yan Qingfeng. Why are you looking for me? I'm not the one looking for you. My sister is looking for you. Come with me. Your sister? Lin Xian was confused. Aya, you're so stupid. My sister is the owner of the Ice and Snow Pavilion, Ice Fairy. She's also the snow lady that you guys call. Ice Fairy? Why is she looking for me? Lin Xian was even more confused. They did not know each other. You'll know when you get there. The girl pouted. I say, you're a big man. Don't tell me you don't dare to go. Why wouldn't I dare? Lin Xian smiled. Lead the way. Very quickly, under Sherman's lead, the two of them left the freshman area and headed east of Senmu College. After flying for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Shui Man finally stopped. In front of him was a valley covered in snow and ice. There were even snowflakes falling from the sky. How strange! Lin Xian was surprised. He didn't think that there would be such a strange place in the academy. Actually, this was normal. Senmu College was very big, far bigger than what he knew. There were all kinds of landforms, mountains, rivers, lakes, and everything else. A snowy valley wasn't much. Walking into the valley, Lin Xian discovered that there were several blue pavilions inside, presumably the residences of these people. Not far from the left side of the pavilions, there was a blue bamboo forest. Every bamboo was crystal clear, as if they were made of ice and snow. This was frost bamboo, and it contained a powerful frost power. For martial artists who cultivated the ice attribute, it was a very good supplementary cultivation item. At this moment, in front of the forest of frost bamboo, there was a white figure looking at Lin Xian with an expressionless face. "It's so cold." Feeling that gaze, Lin Xian was shocked. The coldness in the other party's gaze made him feel uneasy. "Sister Ice Fairy, I've brought him." Shui Man smiled faintly at the beautiful figure in white. Ice Fairy nodded slightly, then looked at Lin Xian again. Lin Xian also looked at the other party. Putting aside the coldness, Ice Fairy was definitely a stunning beauty. Her beautiful face and exquisite figure were wrapped in a white dress, and her alluring curves could be vaguely seen. Although her delicate face was expressionless, it was not hard to imagine that if that face smiled, it would make everything in the world pale in comparison. What was even more peculiar was that she had a head of silver hair, which added a touch of mystery to her already stunning beauty. "Greetings, Sister Ice Fairy," Lin Xian said. No matter what, the other party was a senior, and he still had to show some courtesy. "Junior brother Lin, you're too polite," Ice Fairy said calmly. "I invited you here because I have a mission for you to participate in. I wonder if you're interested." "Mission? What mission?" Lin Xian was surprised. A mission that the Snow Girl accepted was definitely not ordinary. A 4-star mission. A 4-star mission. Lin Xian was surprised. His eyes narrowed, then he said, "Only seniors can accept 4-star missions. I'm just a freshman. I don't think I have the qualifications." With regards to the rules of the Immortal Martial Academy, Lin Xian had already familiarized himself with them. In Senmu College, a large number of missions were issued almost every day. These missions were divided into 1-star to 5-star missions according to their difficulty. Normally, freshmen could only accept the first 3-star missions at the beginning. It seemed unreasonable, but this was a rule that the college made after careful consideration to protect the freshmen's safety. It was important to note that 3-star missions were already very difficult. Basically, one needed to be at least a venerable to complete them. Among the freshmen, only a few genius warriors were qualified to complete such missions. Most of the other freshmen could only accept 1-star or 2-star missions at most. They could only accept higher-level missions after they had stayed in the college for a year and became seniors. Lin Xian had accepted 3-star missions long ago, but he could not accept 4-star missions because he was a freshman. Now, the other party was inviting him to participate in a 4-star mission. "You don't have to worry about qualifications. Since I invited you here, I can help you settle it," Ice Fairy said calmly. Bing Ling said faintly. She always had an indifferent expression on her face, as if nothing could cause her to be affected. "But why did you invite me?" Lin Xian asked again. "There should be many warriors who can participate in 4-star missions in Senmu College, right? And there should be many who are stronger than me, right? Why did you choose me?" "Because of strength," Ice Fairy said straightforwardly. "I saw your match with Yan Qingfeng a few days ago. Your strength is very strong, beyond everyone's expectations. Especially your killing blow. I admire it very much. That's why I invited you to participate. But there's one thing I have to explain. I didn't invite you alone. This 4-star mission is a team mission with a total of 5 people. Other than you, I also invited 3 other people. Moreover, the reward for this mission is very generous. If you can successfully complete it, you can get 1,000,000 spiritual value points as a reward. 1,000,000! Lin Xian was shocked and gasped. One had to know that an Earth rank martial art was only 300,000 spiritual value points. 1,000,000 could be exchanged for 3.5 Earth rank martial arts. If he could complete such a mission 4 or 5 times, he could exchange it for a complete Earth rank martial art. No one could resist this temptation. Chapter 850. Seeing Lin Xian's shocked expression, Bing Ling said indifferently, "You're thinking too much. Do you think that a 4-star mission is like a cabbage? Moreover, without a certain status and qualifications, it's very difficult to receive a 4-star mission. As for 1,000,000 spiritual stones, it's actually not much. If you can receive a 5-star mission, the reward will be terrifying. I heard that a 5-star mission will give you at least 5,000,000 spiritual value points." 5,000,000! Lin Xian was shocked. Completing a mission like this once could directly exchange for an Earth rank martial art. However, he knew that a 5-star mission was even more difficult. Bing Ling said, "Although the rewards of a 5-star mission are extremely tempting, only one person has been able to complete it in so many years." One person? Who is it? Lin Xian was very curious. "Dugu Outyan." This time, there was finally a change in Bing Ling's expression. It was a very dignified look. "Dugu Outyan." Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He had seen this name before because this name was ranked first on the mysterious sovereign leaderboard. "All right, let's not talk about other things. Let's talk about this mission," Bing Ling said indifferently. "The mission I received is a little special. It's a treasure hunting mission, similar to the ancient treasure cave. Usually there will be martial arts, treasures, pills, and so on inside. We only need to hand over 30% of the items we obtain to the Academy. The rest is ours." This kind of treasure hunting mission is very popular because other than obtaining a large amount of spiritual value points, you can also obtain some ancient treasures. It can be said that it's a mission that every Academy disciple wants to complete. There's such a good thing. Lin Xian was a little tempted. Moreover, he could not refuse the reward of 1,000,000 spiritual value points. After all, he had promised the Crimson Dragon that he would help him obtain the dragon's blood. The price of the dragon's blood was very expensive, even more expensive than an Earth rank martial art. Therefore, this was a good opportunity for Lin Xian. "All right, I agree." Lin Xian nodded solemnly. "I wonder who else is there?" He had heard that this was a team mission, so he wanted to ask the other warriors. Sister Bing Ling had already chosen. Xueman said sweetly from the side, "Other than you, there is also Yi Yan, who is ranked 25th on the Mystic Sovereign Leaderboard, and Yang Lin, who is ranked 36th. The last one is a freshman like you. Her name is Dongfang Red Phoenix. You should know her." Eastern Phoenix. Lin Xian was surprised. He didn't expect that other than him, there would be a new student joining the team. But why not Morong Qingsheng? In terms of strength, Morong Qingsheng was probably stronger. As if sensing Lin Xian's confusion, the ice spirit explained, "The Eastern Phoenix's martial soul is a little special, so I chose her." "I see." Lin Xian nodded. "If there's nothing else, we'll leave in 3 days. When the time comes, you can come to the Ice Spirit Valley, and we'll set off together." "All right." Lin Xian nodded. Just as he was about to leave, the sound of something breaking through the air came from behind him. A figure came to the Ice Spirit Valley at lightning speed. It was a wild-looking young man. He wore a beast robe and his hair was messy. His eyes were extremely sharp, like a demonic beast. The young man landed and looked around. When he saw Lin Xian, his face filled with shock. His pupils constricted, and a look of nervousness and fear appeared on his face. At this moment, Lin Xian also saw that person. However, The corners of his mouth curled into a playful smile. The wild-looking young man was none other than Lone Wolf, who had been sent flying a few days ago. Lin Xian didn't expect to meet him in the Ice Spirit Valley. Seeing the smile on Lin Xian's face, Lone Wolf snorted coldly as a cold glint appeared in his eyes. However, he quickly restrained himself and turned to speak to the Ice Spirit. Icicle Fairy, I wonder if you've considered the matter I mentioned before? Lone Wolf's eyes shone with a strange light. He was looking forward to it. Ice Spirit said calmly, the last person has been chosen. It's Lin Xian. As for you, we can work together in the future if there's a chance. What? Lin Xian? Lone Wolf's face darkened and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He turned his head and stared at Lin Xian fiercely. He clenched his fists and his whole body trembled. He didn't expect that the last person for the treasure hunting mission would be Lin Xian. He couldn't accept it. The treasure hunting mission was very popular. However, he could only give up because he couldn't defeat either Ice Spirit or Lin Xian. If that's the case, then forget it. We can work together in the future. Lone Wolf cupped his fists and left the Ice Spirit Valley in a flash. 5,000 meters away from the Ice Spirit Valley, there were a few figures who seemed to be waiting for something. He's out. So fast. They raised their heads and looked at the sky. How was it? Did you succeed? Looking at Lone Wolf, one of them asked. No, the last person was snatched. Gu Lu's face was gloomy and his voice was cold. Who dares to snatch Boss's name? Could it be one of the top 20? No, it's Lin Xian. Lone Wolf gritted his teeth and said. His eyes were full of murderous intent and hatred. Hearing this, the others were shocked as well. Fear appeared on their faces. They clearly remembered the life and death battle from before. Lin Xian wielded the Lone Star Sword and killed Yan Qingfeng instantly. Most people believed that Lin Xian's victory was due to his half-earth step artifact. However, a weapon was also a part of a martial artist's strength. As long as the Lone Star Sword was with Lin Xian, no one dared to touch him. Damn it, I can't take this lying down. Lone Wolf roared. His eyes were red like a crazy beast. Boss, I have an idea. We can definitely make Lin Xian die outside. What idea? Quick, Lone Wolf asked. Let's tell the Yen family that Lin Xian is outside. With the Yen family's anger, they won't let him go. No one can touch him in the college. However, once he's out of the college, with the Yen family's strength, it'll be easy for them to kill him. Even if he has the Lone Star Sword, he won't be able to resist. Good idea. Let's do that. Lone Wolf sneered. Lin Xian, you dare to provoke me. I'll make sure you die a horrible death. The few of them moved and disappeared like lightning. 3 days later, Lin Xian left the courtyard and headed to the Ice Spirit Valley. Soon, he arrived at the Ice Spirit Valley again. This time, other than Icicle, there were a few more figures in the valley. One of them was red all over, as if flames were dancing. It was very eye-catching in this icy world. Lin Xian knew this red figure. It was Dongfang Phoenix, who was a freshman like him. Lin Xian nodded slightly and greeted Icicle Fairy and Dongfang Phoenix. Then he looked at the other two. Chapter 851. The other two were equally powerful. One of them wore a long purple robe and had a pale face, as if he had not seen the sun for many days. What was even more peculiar was that his eyes were also purple and filled with a sense of mystery. The other person was a tall and burly young man. The purple-eyed young man was called Yi Yan, ranked 25th on the Mystic Honorable Leaderboard. The burly young man was called Yang Lin, ranked 36th on the Mystic Honorable Leaderboard. Bing Ling nodded at Lin Xian and introduced the other two. Then he pointed at Lin Xian and said, "This is the last member of our team, Lin Xian. I believe you guys are familiar with him." "Haha, Brother Lin, how can I not be familiar with you?" The battle of life and death that day was amazing. Yang Lin laughed. Indeed, almost everyone in the college knew who Lin Xian was. After all, the battle of life and death a few days ago was still fresh in their minds. I didn't expect you to be so lucky to get a half-Earth rank weapon. Beside him, Dongfang Phoenix rolled her eyes and snorted. Yi Yan and the rest also looked behind Lin Xian with sparkling eyes. Junior brother Lin, our mission this time is to find treasures. It's better to keep a low profile. If you carry the Lone Star sword like this, I'm afraid you'll attract a lot of unnecessary trouble. Bing Ling frowned. I'm really sorry. Due to cultivation, I can't put away the Lone Star sword for the time being. Lin Xian apologized. How about this? I'll wrap the Lone Star sword with a cloth to cover its appearance. That should help us avoid some trouble. How about this? I have a veil made of heavenly quicksand that can block soul detection. If you wrap the Lone Star sword with it, it'll be foolproof, Bing Ling said. Heavenly quicksand? Block soul detection. That's good stuff. Hearing this, everyone's eyes sparkled. Heavenly quicksand was something that could block soul detection. Naturally, it was good stuff. They did not expect Bing Ling to give it to Lin Xian. Bing Ling waved her hand, and a 1-meter-long blue scarf flew out and landed in Lin Xian's hand. Thank you, senior sister. Lin Xian took it and smiled. Senior sister, I have a small spatial teleportation platform. I'll give it to you now. Finished speaking, Lin Xian took out a profound jade platform. Since the other party was willing to give him a treasure that could isolate his divine sense, he naturally couldn't accept it empty-handed. Thus, he planned to use the profound jade pedestal to exchange for it. Spatial teleportation. Everyone was shocked again, their eyes burning with passion. They didn't expect Lin Xian to have such a treasure on him. At a critical moment, this kind of thing could save his life. Bing Ling paused for a moment, then smiled. Thank you, junior brother Lin. I'll take it. Her smile was like a melting ice that had been frozen for 10,000 years, causing the world to lose its color. Even Lin Xian was momentarily dazed. He had to admit that Bing Ling was definitely a peerless beauty. Taking a deep breath and calming himself down, Lin Xian used the heavenly quicksand to wrap the Lone Star sword. Then he wrapped it with a layer of black cloth before carrying it on his back. This way, he could feel the Lone Star sword close to him and isolate himself from other people's divine senses to avoid trouble. Everyone is almost ready. Let's go. Bing Ling put away her smile and said lightly. Hearing this, Lin Xian and the others nodded and quickly moved. The 5 of them formed a team and quickly flew out of Senmu College. Our destination this time is the Heishui River. It's relatively close to the center of the Blood Realm. At this speed, we can reach it in about 10 days. Flying like this consumes too much spiritual power. Why don't we use this? Lin Xian waved his sleeve and patted his demon beast pouch. Suddenly, a golden figure appeared and expanded in the wind, turning into a golden divine condor that was dozens of feet long. Demon General, what a powerful demon chi! Everyone's expressions changed when they saw the golden divine condor. Let's all get on. After all, 10 days of traveling will consume a lot of energy, Bing Ling said. Then, she flashed and landed on the back of the golden divine condor. The others also jumped and got on the divine condor. The 5 of them sat cross-legged on the back of the golden divine condor. Next, Bing Ling began to explain the treasure hunting mission. First, their destination this time, the Heishui River. This was a very magical area and was very famous in the Blood Realm. It was said that thousands of years ago, countless powerhouses fought a great battle near the Heishui River. As for the reason of the battle, no one remembered. However, that battle was extremely tragic and was recorded in history. Countless powerhouses died, and blood flowed like a river. The blood that flowed into the river turned into black water. It was only because of such strange occurrences that the Blackwater River became famous. Those powerhouses fell far behind. Their treasures, storage rings, and other treasures all fell near the Heshuay River. In the past few hundred years, there were lucky people who obtained powerful inheritances and powerful treasures near the Heshuay River, which changed their fates. Therefore, the Heshuay River became a treasure hunting ground. Our mission this time is also at the Heshuay River. According to the information, this should be a treasure cave left behind by an eighth heaven venerable, Bingling said. The Heshuay River is not just a river, but a vast area, Bingling said slowly. This time, we will go to the Heshuay city to settle down. It is the largest city within 10,000 miles. The city lord of the Heshuay city was a fourth heaven venerable. He could be considered an overlord in this area. As Bingling explained, the golden-feathered, godly eagle spread its wings and flew quickly in the void like a bolt of golden lightning. About 7 or 8 days later, the outline of a huge city appeared. It was like a wild beast entrenched on the ground. Let's land in the Heshuay city first. Everyone, take a rest and gather information, Bingling said. After all, we are not the only team in the Heshuay city. There may be other forces with the same goal as us, so we must be prepared. He was very comprehensive. Obviously, he was very familiar with this kind of treasure hunting mission. Lin Xian and the others had no objections. They all nodded in agreement. Then, the 5 of them left the golden-feathered, godly eagle and flew into the sky. Lin Xian waved his hand and called the golden-feathered, godly eagle back. He followed the others and landed in front of the city. Lin Xian squinted his eyes and looked ahead. It was an extremely majestic city. It was completely black and emitted a murderous aura. The city was huge. It did not seem to be any weaker than Windy City. At the city gate, martial artists came and went in an endless stream. Most of them came to the Heshuay city to look for treasures. Let's go in, Bingling said softly. Then he took the lead and walked forward. Lin Xian and the others followed behind. They paid the spiritual stones and entered the Heshuay city. The city was even more prosperous. There were all kinds of materials. It was a dazzling sight. Yi Yan and the others were okay. After all, they were seniors and had been to many places. However, it was Dongfang Phoenix's first time in a city like this. Her beautiful eyes were full of excitement. Junior Sister Dongfang, these things are just for show. The real good stuff is in the city, Bingling said. Later, I will bring you to see the real trading area of the Heshuay city. Chapter 852. Great. Thank you, Senior Sister Bingling. Dongfang Fenghuang was excited. Although their attributes were completely different and even countered each other, there was not much friction between the two. Instead, there was a special closeness between them. This made Lin Xian and the others very surprised. One should know that water and fire were incompatible, and ice and fire were even more incompatible. However, the two beauties were talking and laughing at this moment, which obviously broke their understanding. Strange, really strange. The burly young man, Yang Lin, shook his head and said. Lin Xian also smiled faintly. He glanced around and then nodded slightly. It seemed that Bingling was right. Although these places were noisy and had many materials, most of them were not useful to them. Or rather, they were not interested in them at all. He wondered what was so good in the depths of Blackwater City that even Bingling was a little tempted. Lin Xian was a little curious. Let's go. Let's find an inn first. The group of people shuttled through Blackwater City and caused quite a stir. Of course, it was not caused by Lin Xian's Lone Star sword. The ancient sword was now completely wrapped up and no one could find it. It was the two beauties in the group who caused the stir, Bingling and Dongfang Fenghuang. One of them was as cold as ice and the other was as beautiful as fire. The combination of two completely different styles created a spectacular visual impact. Many people stopped and looked at Bingling and Dongfang Fenghuang with eyes full of passion. Lin Xian sighed as he looked at the numerous fiery gazes. It seemed that no matter where one was, regardless of one's cultivation level, beauty and power were the goals that everyone pursued. After finding an inn, Bingling led the group again and walked towards the inner part of Blackwater City. Looking at how familiar she was, it should not be her first time here. Blackwater City is divided into the outer city and the inner city. The things in the inner city are the real good. The inner city was obviously different from the outer city. There were many warriors with high cultivation guarding the entrance, and the entrance fee was several times more expensive than the outer city. Lin Xian and the others paid the spiritual stones and then walked in. Compared to the noisy streets outside, there were obviously a lot fewer martial artists here. However, every single one of those who were able to enter this place was no weakling, and Exalt Realm cultivators could be seen everywhere. If the outer city was said to be a gathering place for martial artists, then the inner city would be a gathering place for elites. There is a very special elixir pavilion in front. Let me show you, Bingling said. Xian and the rest followed behind. Soon, they saw a majestic hall in front of them. There were several times more warriors gathered there than in the surroundings. Bingling and the others walked into the main hall. Then she turned around and said to Lin Xian and the others, "Everyone, find a futon and sit on it." Lin Xian looked around and realized that there were no chairs in the hall, only prayer mats. Each prayer mat represented a position, and many of the prayer mats were already seated. Although Lin Xian took a quick glance, he discovered that none of these people were weak. The 5 of them found 5 futons side by side and sat down. Then they began to look around carefully. The surrounding people all had different expressions on their faces. Some were talking in low voices, while others were resting with their eyes closed as if they were waiting for something. At this moment, a presumptuous laughter rang out in the hall. It was filled with endless temptation as it spread out in all directions. Many people frowned when they heard this voice, but they did not say anything. Lin Xian was very curious. He turned his head and looked to the left in front of him. That was where the voice came from. There was a girl with a hot figure there. She had a hot figure, a pretty face, and a pair of seductive eyes that could captivate one's soul. Not only that, but she was also wearing very revealing clothes. She only wore a thin purple dress that revealed her slender thighs and the snow-white soft flesh on her chest. On both sides of her were 2 young men. Their auras were ordinary, and they were only in the spirit detecting realm. However, they were both very handsome. Such handsome young men should have been pursued by thousands of girls, but at this moment they were like servants trying their best to please the seductive girl. The seductive girl had a look of enjoyment on her face as she teased the 2 handsome young men. From time to time, she would let out extremely seductive sounds. Behind the seductive girl sat an old woman with a head full of white hair. Her eyes were slightly closed as if she was asleep. However, Lin Xian keenly noticed that the old woman was emitting a faint aura that surrounded the seductive girl. It seemed that the old woman with a head full of white hair was the seductive girl's guardian. Humph! Seeing this indecent scene, Dongfang Fenghuang snorted coldly. She was obviously very angry. Yang Lin, on the other hand, widened his eyes in disbelief. "That's the daughter of the Blackwater City Lord," Bingling explained in a low voice. "The daughter of the Blackwater City Lord." Lin Xian and the others were shocked. They did not expect that the seductive girl was the daughter of the city lord. That's right. Look at the black dragon on her chest. That's the symbol of the Blackwater City Lord's mansion. Not only that, the old woman behind her is also a third heaven honorable realm expert. She has the symbol of the City Lord's mansion and is protected by a third heaven honorable realm expert. I'm afraid that in the entire Blackwater City, only the daughter of the City Lord can receive such treatment. Bingling's voice was cold and emotionless. It was obvious that she was very disgusted by the seductive girl's behavior. I didn't expect the people from the Iron Sword sect to be here too," Yi Yan also exclaimed as a purple light flickered in his eyes. Lin Xian looked over and saw a group of warriors carrying iron swords on their backs in front and to the right. They were of different ages. The oldest was an old man and the youngest was a young man. These people wore different clothes and had different expressions. However, all of them carried iron swords on their backs. They also carried a sharp aura that belonged to swordsmen. The Iron Sword sect. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed as he looked at the warriors. As a swordsman, he could feel that they were powerful. Moreover, these were the few swordsmen that he had seen who carried long swords on their backs. Generally, martial artists would have storage rings. Weapons and such would be placed in the storage ring and would only be taken out during battle. However, these people from the Iron Sword sect carried long swords on their backs. They were indeed unique. However, Lin Xian soon understood and shook his head. He was also carrying a treasure sword on his back. If not for the sky quicksand, he would have attracted their attention. Is the Iron Sword sect very powerful? Dongfang Fenghuang asked, puzzled. Within 10,000 miles of the Blackwater River, there are three most powerful forces. They are the Blackwater City, the Iron Sword sect, and the Huangfu clan. These three forces occupy different areas. They usually don't interact with each other. Now that the people from the Iron Sword sect have come to the Blackwater City, they must be here for the treasure. Perhaps these people have received some news. There's no other way. Every time a rare treasure appears, it will cause quite a stir. These forces are all near the Blackwater River. They must have received the news in advance, Yang Lin said in a deep voice. Chapter 853. Sure enough, the Huangfu family is here too. Bing Ling's voice was solemn. Lin Xian turned his head and saw another group of people coming from the entrance. These people looked arrogant and their bodies were shrouded in a layer of yellow light, exuding a powerful aura. The leader was a middle-aged man in a yellow robe. He strode in, came to the futon at the front, and sat down quickly. Seeing these people's confident and overbearing behavior, Lin Xian knew that they must be from the Huangfu family. He did not expect the three major forces of Blackwater City to appear here at the same time. What's in this hall? How can it attract people from the three major forces? Lin Xian was very curious. Bing Ling and the others looked solemn. They realized that this treasure hunt might be more difficult than they thought. After about 30 minutes, a group of people came out from the depths of the hall and walked to the crystal platform in front of the futon. Suddenly, the martial artists in the hall opened their eyes and looked forward with passion. Some of them even trembled with excitement. It looked like an auction, but according to Bing Ling, it should be an elixir pavilion. Lin Xian frowned slightly. What was this so-called elixir pavilion doing? In front, an old man with the demeanor of a transcendent being slowly walked towards the crystal platform. He looked around and laughed. Fellow cultivators, I've made you wait for a long time. I'm Gong Sun Gu. I'm sure everyone knows me. First of all, thank you for coming to Jade Hall Elixir Pavilion. Your wait will not be in vain. You will definitely get what you want here. Is Jade Hall Elixir Pavilion very famous? Dongfang Phoenix asked. Of course. Jade Hall Elixir Pavilion has a powerful force behind it. It seems to be related to Green Hill Chamber of Commerce. Although the three major forces of Blackwater City are powerful, they dare not provoke Jade Hall Elixir Pavilion. I see. Lin Xian suddenly understood. No wonder when Gong Sun Gu and the others came out. Even the daughter of the governor of Blackwater City restrained herself. On the crystal platform, the old man named Gong Sun Gu introduced and said solemnly, "Next, we will get down to business." With that, he waved his sleeve and a palm-sized pill bottle appeared on the crystal platform. The old man smiled and slowly opened the bottle. Immediately, a strong pill fragrance floated out. Not only that, the pill fragrance wafted in the air, forming a 3-foot-tall green demonic beast phantom. It was incomparably ferocious and lifelike. This is Dong Fong Fong Huang and the others were astonished, their mouths agape. Lin Xian's eyes also narrowed as a light flickered in his eyes. He did not expect that the level of alchemy in this place would be so high. The cyan shadow above the pill bottle was clearly the manifestation of the pill fragrance. This kind of method was not just a matter of the grade of the pill. The quality of the pill was even more important. It was obvious that the pills in front of him were of extremely high quality, regardless of rank or quality. At this moment, Old Man Gong's son also spoke. Everyone, this medicinal pellet is called the Cyan Spirit Pellet. It is concocted using the Cyan Spirit Beast's monstrous core. After taking this pill, it can greatly increase a martial artist's speed. It can double a martial artist's speed within the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. This is definitely a rare medicinal pill. I hope that everyone will consider it carefully and not miss this golden opportunity. Hearing this, many people were shocked and their expressions changed. Doubling one's speed was an incredible thing. One should know that if one's speed suddenly increased during a battle, it would definitely catch the opponent off guard. Moreover, increasing one's speed was something that could only be done by secret skills. However, a medicinal pill could solve this problem. Even Lin Xian and the others were surprised. In the world of martial arts, only speed was unbeatable. If one could greatly increase one's speed, it would definitely increase one's strength. At this moment, Old Man Gong's son looked at the lively scene below and chuckled. The starting price of the Cyan Spirit Pellet is 5 million spiritual stones. The bidding starts now. Bidding. Lin Xian was surprised. He did not expect that these medicinal pills would be sold in an auction. However, the others in the hall were used to it. As soon as Old Man Gong's son finished speaking, someone began to bid. Dong Fong Feng Huang's beautiful eyes moved as she listened to the rising price. She was very surprised. She did not expect a small medicinal pill to be auctioned for nearly 10 million spiritual stones. In the end, the Cyan Spirit Pellet was bought by a slightly plump middle-aged man at the price of 5 million spiritual stones. Next, Old Man Gong's son took out another medicinal pill and began the auction. Every single one of these pills had a unique effect, and it was truly amazing. Lin Xian looked at the heated scene in the hall and narrowed his eyes. However, he did not intend to make a move. He knew that behind the miraculous effects of these medicinal pills, there should be a significant side effect. After all medicinal pills had side effects. Everything was relative. When one obtained something, one would also have to pay a price. Therefore, one's own strength was the most reliable thing. Bing Ling and the others also did not make a move. Although the medicinal pills before were miraculous, they were not interested in them. One should know that these people were all favored by the heavens. Perhaps only those extremely unique items could make them make a move. Everyone, the next medicinal pill is very rare. Someone spent a lot of effort to obtain it from the Blackwater River. According to our appraisal, this medicinal pill should be refined by a Danzong master. A Danzong master! Hearing this, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Their eyes were somewhat fiery as they looked ahead. To be called a grandmaster, he was definitely not an ordinary person. Even Lin Xian sat up straight with a trace of curiosity in his eyes. Alchemy, grandmaster, that was the goal he yearned for. On the crystal stage, Old Man Gong's son took out a white jade box and carefully held it in his hands. The white jade box was very small and was about half the size of a palm. It was white and flawless and emitted a faint glow. Disregarding everything else, this box alone was a rare treasure. In the next moment, Old Man Gong's son opened the white jade box and revealed a medicinal pill the size of a longan fruit. The pill was crimson in color and its surface was covered with dense veined patterns, as if they were intertwined to form a strange pattern. However, the inscriptions were already rather dim, and even the pill was dim and lusterless. If it was not placed in the white jade box, almost no one would think that it was a medicinal pill. Seeing this scene, many people were puzzled. The appearance of this medicinal pill was much worse than the previous ones. Everyone, please calm down and listen to my explanation. Old man Gongsun gestured for everyone to quiet down. Then he said loudly, "Don't underestimate this medicinal pill. According to our deduction, this medicinal pill should be able to increase a martial artist's vitality. As everyone knows, vitality is very important to a martial artist. It can be said that it is the foundation. Only with a strong vitality can one go further." Increase vitality? Old man Gongsun. It is true that vitality is the foundation of a martial artist. But what grade is this medicinal pill? How much vitality can it increase? Can you explain it clearly? At the front, the middle-aged man from the Huangfu family looked at the crystal stage and said coldly, Chapter 854. Hearing that, the others nodded. They also wanted to know how much qi and blood this pill could increase. As expected of an expert from the Huangfu family, "You're really thoughtful." Old man Gongsun laughed. "This pill was dug out from an ancient ruin. As for its effects, we once invited a grade 6 alchemist to examine it, but he didn't find out its exact medicinal effects. However, that grade 6 alchemist strongly recommended it. He believed that this pill was definitely refined by an alchemy grandmaster who surpassed him. All right, let's begin the auction. The starting price is 3 million spirit stones." Old man Gongsun said quickly. Below, the crowd booed. This was clearly a pit of fire, although it was crowned with the title of a grade 6 alchemist. Who would buy it if its effects weren't even confirmed? Most people shook their heads and ignored it. However, there was also a small group of people who revealed interested gazes. Among them, there was a martial artist who offered 4 million to try his luck. There were also some warriors who didn't lack money who wanted to hide this pill book so that they could show it off in the future. Therefore, there were several people bidding in the entire hall. However, when the price reached 5 million spirit stones, the number of people bidding suddenly decreased. After all, they weren't fools. Although they wanted to buy it, they wouldn't spend too many spirit stones. 5 million spirit stones. I wonder if any friends are willing to bid higher? Old man Gongsun said with a smile on the crystal platform. This price had already exceeded his expectations. After all, even they didn't know the exact effects of this pill. It was already very good that it could be auctioned. Lin Xian looked at the dim pill on the crystal platform and narrowed his eyes. Although he still couldn't confirm the exact effects of the pill, based on his experience and the knowledge he learned from Lord Alcohol, Lin Xian could conclude that this pill was definitely not simple. In the eyes of ordinary people, this might be a useless pill with unknown effects, but in Lin Xian's eyes, this was definitely something good. 5 million! Lin Xian said indifferently. Originally, old man Gongsun had already wanted to finalize the auction, but now someone actually increased the price, which was really out of his expectations. Not only him, but all the cultivators in the hall were whispering to each other. Many people turned their heads, wanting to see just which prodigal son was spending so much money to buy a pill whose effects they didn't know. The daughter of the city, Lord of Blackwater City, Xiao Mei, turned her head and stared at Lin Xian and the rest. Her delicate and beautiful face revealed a trace of seductiveness. Her small cherry lips were slightly opened, and her small tongue quickly licked her lips. That action was extremely seductive. Many people saw this scene and immediately felt a ball of evil fire rising in their lower abdomens, as if they could not control it. Damn it! Many martial artists snorted and quickly circulated their spirit energy to suppress the evil in their bodies. Hee, what a handsome young man. The seductive woman looked at Lin Xian, Yan, and the others with a seductive smile. She cultivated an evil skill that specialized in absorbing men's yang qi, and a man's yang qi was related to his qi, blood, and cultivation. Perhaps others could not feel it, but this seductive woman cultivated a skill that could clearly sense the vigorous qi and blood in Lin Xian and the others, as if they were a furnace of heaven and earth. Any one of them was far more powerful than the two handsome young men beside her. If I can get these three, my skills will definitely increase greatly. The seductive woman was excited and wanted to grab Lin Xian and the others and throw them on the bed immediately. What are you looking at? Yang Lin snorted coldly. His voice was like thunder shaking the void. He was very disgusted by the seductive woman's gaze. Yan also did not say a word. Purple light flashed in his eyes, bringing with it a chill. He also did not have a good impression of the seductive woman. However, Lin Xian did not show any dissatisfaction. He just looked at her indifferently and then ignored her. Although she used a seductive technique, it was not difficult for him. Io, not only are you handsome, but your personality is also very unique. The seductive woman laughed wantonly, and the soft flesh on her chest jiggled. Elder sister, I love this kind of young man with personality the most. Then she turned to the crystal table and said in a sweet voice, 6 million spiritual stones. What kind of elixir is that? This princess wants it. 6 million? Everyone was shocked again. As expected of the daughter of the city lord, she was so generous. Spending 6 million spiritual stones to buy a useless elixir of unknown use was really a big deal. Old man Gong's son was slightly stunned, but then he smiled and squinted his eyes. How could he not understand the situation in front of him? It seemed that the infamous daughter of the city lord had taken a liking to Lin Xian and the others. This daughter of the city lord was famous for being loose. None of the young martial artists that she had taken a liking to could escape from her evil clutches. The 3 young men were probably in danger. However, this had nothing to do with Old Man Gong Sunday. What he wanted to do was to sell the elixir at a high price. Lin Xian's face also darkened, and he frowned slightly. Obviously, he was also surprised by the other party's sudden increase in price. One had to know that not long ago he had spent 1 billion spiritual stones to buy the Lone Star sword. Now he did not have many spiritual stones left. If the other party insisted on raising the price, it would be troublesome. Seeing Lin Xian frown, Xiao Mei's smile became even wider. What a handsome face! Even when he frowned, he looked so good. She did not care about everyone's gazes, and directly flirted with Lin Xian. Humph! Beside her, Dongfang Phoenix coldly snorted. She had a fiery temper and could not stand such a shameless woman. Therefore, she also bid 5 million. Instantly, the surrounding people's expressions became rich. They had already noticed the girl in red. Whether it was her figure or her face, she was far more beautiful than Xiao Mei. At this moment, her bid attracted everyone's attention. Many people were guessing the relationship between this girl in red and Lin Xian. Even the people from the Iron Sword sect and the Huangfu clan turned around and looked at Lin Xian and the others. When they saw Dongfang Phoenix, who was wearing a fiery red light armor, they were shocked. This was because they realized that she had the powerful aura of an honorable. Not only that, but the people around the fiery red girl also had powerful auras. Every one of them was above an honorable. Where did this group of people come from? The 2 forces' hearts were heavy. Xiao Mei's expression also froze, and then it became very ugly. She was the daughter of the city lord, and no one in Blackwater City dared to go against her. Moreover, the other party was also a woman, and her figure and appearance were far better than hers. This caused a strong sense of jealousy to rise in her heart. 7 million. Xiao Mei's voice carried a trace of coldness. 7, 5 million, 8 million, 8, 5 million. Dongfang Phoenix nonchalantly said. Her eyes were full of indifference, as if this amount of money was nothing to her. Xiao Mei was so angry that her whole body trembled. She gritted her teeth and was about to raise the price again. Chapter 855. However, at this moment, the white-haired old woman behind her suddenly reached out and stopped Xiao Mei. She said in a low voice, "Miss, let's forget about it. There's no need to waste money on a useless pill. Also, those people are not simple. If we fight, I don't have the confidence to win. We have a mission this time. Miss, don't be impulsive." Hearing this, Xiao Mei snorted coldly. She was obviously unwilling, but she did not continue to raise the price. Instead, she looked at Dongfang Phoenix and the others coldly. She decided that if she had the chance, she would ruin the other party's face. Seeing that the other party did not bid, Dongfang Phoenix snorted, "What daughter of the mayor? She's just a woman. If I see her, I'll teach her a lesson." Hearing this, Lin Xian broke out in cold sweat. This girl's temper was really hot. "Do you know the specific effects of that pill?" he asked. "No." Dongfang Phoenix shook her head. "I just don't like the other party. As for that pill, I don't care about it. It's yours." F***CK. Lin Xian rolled his eyes. Women were really scary creatures. Their thoughts could not be judged by common sense. However, this was not bad. At least he did not have to spend a single cent to get the pill. If that's the case, then thank you. Lin Xian smiled at Dongfang Phoenix. "All right, don't be impulsive. After all, we're here for a mission. It's better to keep a low profile," Bing Ling said. Lin Xian and the others nodded in agreement. After this, a few more pills were auctioned. However, Lin Xian and the others did not bid this time. Lin Xian looked around and frowned. He realized that the people from the Iron Sword clan and the Huangfu clan did not bid from the beginning to the end. It was as if they were waiting for something. Lin Xian was curious. He did not know what could attract so much attention from the two major forces. As time passed, the atmosphere in the hall was unusually lively. Many people obtained pills that they were satisfied with. At this time, Old Man Gong's son took out another item. It was a very simple and unadorned square box. It was bronze in color and carved with hollow patterns. However, when the ancient bronze box appeared, the people from the Iron Sword sect and the Huangfu clan became excited. Everyone's eyes sparkled as they stared ahead. Even Xiao Mei, who had always been slutty, retracted her charm and became serious. The white-haired old woman behind her suddenly opened her eyes. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and looked ahead, only to see the ancient bronze box slowly open. There was a completely blue pill inside. The pill was the size of a walnut. It was completely round and emitted a faint light. At this moment, the azure pill emitted a rich pill fragrance. The fragrance intertwined in the air, forming a strange pattern. It was like a blue water dragon. The blue water dragon circled around and let out a low roar that quickly spread in all directions. What followed was a terrifying pressure. This aura? What terrifying pressure! Just what kind of pill could have such power? Countless people's expressions changed. They felt as if the blood in their bodies had frozen. It was an extremely uncomfortable feeling. One should know that most of the people present were honorables and were very powerful. However, they could still feel the terrifying pressure. One could only imagine how terrifying the blue pill was. At this moment, countless people looked at the pill in front of them and swallowed their saliva. This pill! Dongfang Phoenix also looked over in surprise. She finally found something that shocked her. This aura is too powerful. Bing Ling looked ahead and frowned. "I'm afraid it's something left behind by a king." A king? Hearing this, everyone was shocked. Even Lin Xian's pupils shrank. One should know that a king was the most powerful existence in the mainland. How could something left behind by a king be ordinary. However, no one could understand why a king's item would appear here. Old Man Gong's son chuckled when he saw everyone's puzzled and passionate gazes. Everyone, this blue pill was found in the depths of the Blackwater River. According to our deduction, this pill was most likely left behind by an alchemy grandmaster who had reached the king realm. A king-level alchemy grandmaster. Could it be the Niwa of Gojoseon? Instantly, all the martial artists in the hall became excited. Countless eyes looked ahead with passion. They could not help but be excited. In the great battle of the Blackwater River 1,000 years ago, many powerhouses had fallen. It was said that a king-level alchemy grandmaster had also fallen. The Niwa of Gojoseon was extremely powerful in Bhutan. His attainments in alchemy were superb. However, after he fell, no one found his body, nor did anyone find anything related to his inheritance. Many people even thought that the fall of the Niwa of Gojoseon was just a legend. However, now, a pill that was suspected to be refined by the Niwa of Gojoseon had appeared. This was enough to drive anyone crazy. I'm sure everyone knows that strange scenes have been happening around the Blackwater River recently. Everyone here is a treasure hunter. I don't need to tell you that this is the sign of a rare treasure. Now, the water dragon pill has appeared. I'm afraid things are not that simple. According to our deduction, this rare treasure is most likely left behind by the Niwa of Gojoseon. Old Man Gongsuen's words silenced the entire hall. However, after a while, everyone became even more excited. Even the people from the three forces were breathing heavily. Their eyes were burning. Although they did not know if Old Man Gongsun was telling the truth, they did know about the strange scenes that often appeared around the Blackwater River. Moreover, some people noticed that the scale and frequency of the strange scenes this time were far greater than before. This was enough to show that the rare treasure that appeared this time was not ordinary. Now that the water dragon pill had appeared, it meant that it was most likely left behind by the Niwa of Gojoseon. Thinking of this, everyone's breathing became more rapid. A rare treasure left behind by a king-level alchemy grandmaster was completely different from an ordinary treasure. If this was true, it would probably cause an uproar in the entire Blackwater River area. Not only were the three forces shocked, but Lin Xian and the others were also extremely shocked. Yang Lin's eyes widened as he scratched his head. Wasn't it said that it was a treasure left behind by an 8th level venerable? How did it become a king-level treasure? Bing Ling also frowned. It seems that there is a discrepancy in the mission information this time. If it's just a treasure left behind by an 8th level venerable, we can still complete it smoothly. However, if it really is a king-level treasure, I'm afraid this mission will become extremely difficult. At that time, all the forces in the Blackwater River area would come to snatch it. Hearing this, everyone fell silent. Although they were all talented martial artists with powerful strength, there were only 5 of them. The local forces had countless martial artists. If they really fought, they might not be a match for them. Of course, if Lin Xian and the others really wanted to kill them, the other party would not have it easy. After all, they were all geniuses with heaven-defying means. Chapter 856. But that might not be the case. This information might be fabricated by the Elixir Pavilion in order to raise the price, Yi Yen said. After all, the information hasn't been confirmed yet, so we can't panic. Yes, let's wait and see. Let's not act rashly. Bing Ling's expression was also serious. Lin Xian's group of 5 were talking in low voices, while the others in the hall were in a frenzy. Countless people looked forward with fiery eyes, staring at the water dragon pill in the bronze box. Although the information hadn't been confirmed yet, if the rare treasure was really left behind by the Niwa of Gojoseon, then the water dragon pill was a peerless pill, and it might be related to the rare treasure. One had to know that once one reached the king level, their methods would be unfathomable. The pills they refined would not only have the effects of ordinary pills, but they might also have other mysterious functions. Thinking of this, countless people's breathing became more rapid, and their eyes were filled with greed. If they could get the water dragon pill, their chances of getting a rare treasure would be greatly increased. Once they got a rare treasure, they would soar into the sky and rise up. A rare treasure from a rare treasure was enough to make them soar. If they were lucky, they might even become another rare treasure. Seeing the fiery emotions, Old Man Gong's son laughed and said, "The water dragon pill is definitely related to the rare treasure, but we don't know the specific relationship between them. However, if you really want to search for the rare treasure, don't miss out on this heaven-defying opportunity." That's all for the information. The auction for the water dragon pill will start now. The starting price is 30 million spiritual stones. It was just a pill, and they didn't even know what it did, but it was sold for 30 million spiritual stones, which was 10 times the price of the previous pills. It was truly shocking. However, Old Man Gong's son had absolute confidence. He knew that this pill would definitely be sold for an even higher price. After all, a pill refined by a rare treasure was definitely not an ordinary one, and it was related to a rare treasure, which was extremely important. Therefore, the price of this pill would be sky high. He was very confident about this. 35 million. As soon as Old Man Gong's son's voice fell, Xiao Mei's voice quickly sounded. As the daughter of the Blackwater City Lord, she had to get this pill. 40 million. Although Xiao Mei was the daughter of the Blackwater City's castellan and represented the power of Blackwater City, not everyone was on the same page as Blackwater City. At the very least, the other two major forces didn't buy their words. The one who bid was the old man from the Iron Sword sect. His voice was like sword chi buzzing in the air. "Damn it! How dare you compete with our Blackwater City?" Xiao Mei was so angry that she stomped her feet. She glared at the other party, but was ignored. Others might be afraid of Blackwater City, but Iron Sword faction was not. They were also determined to obtain the water dragon pill. 45 million. Someone else made a bid. This time, it was the middle-aged man from the Huangfu family who was sitting at the front. He bid in a low voice, his voice carrying a hint of arrogance. The price suddenly increased by 15 million, causing the surrounding martial artists to suck in a breath of cold air. Disappointment appeared in their eyes. They knew that with the three major forces intervening, they had no chance of competing at all. It's only 45 million. "I'll pay 5, Dongfang Fenghuang was about to bid, but Lin Xian reacted quickly and covered her cherry lips. "Boo-hoo, what are you doing?" Dongfang Fenghuang was furious. Her pair of beautiful eyes stared at Lin Xian fiercely. "That item is very dangerous. I'm afraid it's not much less tempting than the Lone Star Sword. If we bid for it, we will definitely be targeted by countless people," Lin Xian said in a low voice. Hearing this, the crowd fell silent. Lin Xian was right. Countless people were eyeing the water dragon pill, especially the three major forces. They were all determined to get it. If they bid for the water dragon pill, they might not even be able to leave Blackwater City. Lin Xian knew this very well. When he first obtained the Lone Star Sword, he went through an extremely fierce battle. Moreover, if it wasn't for his breakthrough in the blood sword inheritance, he wouldn't have been able to escape so easily. This time, there were even more experts in Blackwater City. There was even a 4th-level Honorable Realm expert like the Blackwater City Master who was eyeing it covetously. If they really fought, they would be at a disadvantage. Junior brother Lin is right. "We should just wait and see," Bingling said slowly. "Woo-woo, I know. You bastard, take your hand away." Dongfang Fenghuang was so angry that she stomped her feet. "If you don't bid, what should we do?" She stared at Lin Xian fiercely. Lin Xian retracted his hand and said in a low voice, "Now we can only wait and see if the king's treasure really appears. If it's not, then it's fine. But if it's true, then we can only secretly look for an opportunity. Although the treasure is good, our lives are more important." Hearing this, the crowd nodded. Bingling also looked at Lin Xian a few more times. She could see that although Lin Xian was young and was a freshman, he was very steady in doing things. It was very rare. Yi Yan and Yang Lin were also surprised. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be so experienced in doing things in addition to his heaven-defying combat strength. "Humph, you know so much." Dongfang Fenghuang snorted angrily. She kept grinding her teeth and stared at Lin Xian fiercely. Although she was angry, she had to admit that Lin Xian's analysis was very reasonable. Without the pressure of competition, Lin Xian and the other four completely relaxed. They looked forward with an expression of watching a show. Now, they just needed to be good spectators. Just as they were discussing countermeasures, the price in the hall had risen to 60 million. This price was absolutely terrifying. It could probably buy countless rare elixirs. However, this price was still not enough to buy the water dragon pill. 70 million. At this time, a cold voice sounded again. The sudden increase of 10 million caused the entire hall to cry out in surprise. The one who bid was the elder from the Iron Sword sect. His eyes were gloomy and his voice was cold. Everyone was shocked. As expected of a big force, he raised the price by 10 million. He was indeed rich and overbearing. However, Xiao Mei was very angry. The pair of jade rabbits in front of her chest kept shaking as if they were about to jump out. She also said gloomily, "Elder Su, I really like this elixir. How about you give it to me?" "Haha." The elder from the Iron Sword sect, called Elder Su, laughed. "Miss Xiao must be joking. What doesn't Blackwater City have? You want to fight with an old man like me for this elixir? I think Miss Xiao should give it to an old man like me." "Humph. I want this water dragon pill." Xiao Mei snorted. "I want this elixir. 80 million. Chapter 857. 80 million. Xiao Mei said coldly. Her words carried an aura that said she was determined to win. Hearing this, Elder Su from the Iron Sword sect's face darkened. It seemed that the other party was going to fight to the death with him. 130 million. A confident voice rang out. This time, it was the middle-aged man from the Huangfu clan. "Since the two of you are fighting so fiercely, why don't you add me in?" The Huangfu clan would not give up on the water dragon pill either. The three forces competed with each other and kept raising the price. Soon, it reached 500 million. This price made all the warriors in the hall feel helpless. Many of them sucked in a breath of cold air. They might not be able to earn so many spiritual stones in their lifetime. But now, the three great clans had bid 500 million for a pill whose authenticity was unknown. It was truly shocking. Damn it, those two old bastards. Xiao Mei gritted her teeth in anger. Her beautiful face was ferocious. In the Blackwater City, no one had ever dared to compete with her. But now, the two forces were not only competing with her, but they also looked like they would not give up until they got it. This made her go crazy. However, Xiao Mei had no choice. The other party's forces were not weaker than hers. Even if she threatened them, it was useless. She could only continue bidding. Moreover, this pill was something that the Blackwater City had to get. Before she left, her father had told her that no matter the price, she had to get the water dragon pill. At this moment, Elder Su from the Iron Sword sect started laughing. 600 million. This is the highest price that the Iron Sword sect can offer. If the two of you can surpass this price, the Iron Sword sect will not compete anymore. 600 million. Everyone was shocked. At this moment, the price increased by another 100 million. Hearing this, the middle-aged man from the Huangfu clan's eyes flickered. Xiao Mei suddenly stood up. Her delicate and seductive face looked ferocious. She sucked in a deep breath and said coldly, 700 million. In the hall, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Their eyes were filled with shock. The price increased by another 100 million. This meant that the water dragon pill had become a sky-high price. F***CK. This price is comparable to a half-Earth level treasure. Yang Lin's eyes widened as he swallowed his saliva. He's really rich. Lin Xian also sighed. One had to know that he had spent all of his wealth to buy the Lone Star sword. But now, in order to compete for a pill of unknown use, the three great forces had actually offered a price equivalent to a half-Earth step treasure. It was indeed amazing. The price of 700 million reverberated throughout the hall, causing the originally lively scene to become somewhat quiet. Even Elder Su, who had been all smiles earlier, had shut his mouth at this moment. His expression was somewhat ugly. He had previously said that 600 million was the highest price that the Iron Sword sect could offer. Now that the other party had offered 700 million without any hesitation, they were unable to bid any further. Moreover, this was the trump card of Blackwater City. The other party must have endless financial support. If they continued to compete like this, there would be no result. Therefore, Elder Su was prepared to give up. Similarly, the middle-aged man from the Huangfu clan didn't raise the price either. On the crystal platform, Old Man Gongsun was overjoyed to see this. This water dragon pill was indeed dug out from the depths of the Blackwater River. However, they weren't too clear about its specific use. What they had said before was just speculation. However, the three great clans were still fighting over it. The price of 700 million had long exceeded his expectations. He couldn't wait to finalize the auction and sell the pill. Seeing that no one else was willing to bid, Old Man Gongsun asked 3 more times before finalizing the auction. The final winner was Xiao Mei from Blackwater City. Blackwater City is indeed generous, spending 700 million to buy a pill of unknown use. This old man is truly impressed. I hope this treasure is real. If it's just an ordinary treasure, you'll suffer a great loss. Ha ha ha. Old Monster Su's words were filled with sarcasm as he spoke to Xiao Mei. After that, he left with the people from the Iron Sword sect. The middle-aged man from the Huangfu clan snorted coldly and left with his clan members. Xiao Mei looked at the backs of the 2 great forces as the corner of her mouth curled into a devilish smile. 2 old things. How dare you compete with me? You're courting death. Sooner or later, you'll be trampled under the feet of my Black Dragon City. Her expression was filled with boundless arrogance, as if her Blackwater City had already obtained the king's treasure. The auction is almost over. Let's go. Bing Ling turned around and said to Lin Xian and the rest. Hearing this, Lin Xian and the rest nodded and walked out. Seeing Lin Xian and the rest leave, Xiao Mei once again revealed a hint of seductiveness. It's been a long time since I've tasted such a strong little fresh meat. I wonder how it tastes. She stuck out her tongue and licked her lips. She even let out an extremely seductive moan. Grandma Silver, help me check the identities of these people, especially those 3 young men. With such supreme yang qi, I can't let them escape. The white-haired old woman nodded slightly with the help of her walking stick. After that, her body swayed and turned into a wisp of green smoke, disappearing from the spot. Xiao Mei chuckled lightly and swayed her hips as she walked in another direction. That direction was where the city lord's mansion was located. Not long after, the originally bustling and crowded hall became empty again. All the cultivators had left. The news of the water dragon pill and the king's treasure spread like the wind in Blackwater City. Countless cultivators were shocked and went crazy. The king's treasure was a super treasure that had never appeared before. Everyone's heart trembled and their expressions went crazy. It couldn't be helped. These 4 words were too tempting. Kings were the most powerful existences, known to the continent at present. The treasure they left behind was absolutely heaven-defying. Whoever obtained it would have the opportunity to break through to the king's realm. This temptation was too fatal because entering the king's realm was something that every cultivator dreamed of. After all, the king was the strongest existence on the continent. They were the true overlords that ruled the heavens and earth. If nothing unexpected happened, a king could easily live up to 3,000 years old. No matter if it was strength or lifespan, they far surpassed a venerable. Therefore, once the news of the king's treasure spread, the entire Blackwater City fell into a frenzy. Countless forces began to secretly take action. Compared to the madness in Blackwater City, Lin Xian and the others were much quieter. In a side room, Lin Xian sat cross-legged. In his hand, he held the crimson red pill that he obtained during the auction and carefully observed it. This pill was completely crimson red and had pill markings engraved on it. It looked dim and lusterless. After carefully studying it for a long time, he found that this pill could indeed increase one's qi and blood. Moreover, the effect was quite good. However, the elixir patterns on the surface of the elixir made him a little surprised. Although they were dim and lusterless, the pill markings still revealed a faint trace of mysterious energy. This energy was very weak. If one's soul power wasn't strong enough, they wouldn't be able to sense it. Chapter 858. Lin Xian had already reached the level of a level 5 alchemist. If he gave it his all, he could even create level 6 pills. However, he was still shocked by the markings in front of him. He couldn't figure it out. The Crimson Dragon also ran out and stared at the pill. "Kid, I advise you not to use this pill for now. Wait until you repair the markings. At that time, the pill's effect will increase by hundreds of times. Repair the markings." Lin Xian squinted his eyes. He felt that this was a feasible method. However, this process might take a long time because the markings were too profound. He needed to repair them bit by bit. Looks like this is the only way. Lin Xian held the pill in his hand and slowly closed his eyes. Waves of strong soul energy rushed out and entered the crimson pill. Just like that, he started to repair the markings. At the same time, in the mayor's mansion of Blackwater City, in a majestic hall, Xiao Mei stood proudly. In front of her was a middle-aged man in a black robe. The middle-aged man had a square face and deep eyes. He wore a long black robe with 3 golden flood dragons that were bearing their fangs and brandishing their claws. As he stood there, he exuded an unparalleled aura of power. This majestic middle-aged man was the mayor of Blackwater City, Xiao Li. At the same time, he was also a level 4 honorable. His strength was unfathomable. At this moment, Xiao Li was holding the ancient bronze box in his hand. In the next moment, he opened the ancient bronze box, revealing the azure pill inside. That's right, this water dragon pill was refined by King Pillfeather. Xiao Li's eyes sparkled as he looked at the azure pill. Hearing this, Xiao Mei let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that the 700 million spiritual stones were not wasted. So, the treasure that appeared this time is also a king's treasure? Xiao Mei's voice trembled. Should be. Xiao Li picked up the water dragon pill and placed it on his palm. He smiled faintly. With this water dragon pill, King Pillfeather's treasure will definitely be ours. My hiding here for nearly 100 years was not in vain. Finally, the king's treasure is here. If I can successfully complete this mission, my position in the palace will definitely be greatly improved. Xiao Li's face was filled with joy. What will the palace master reward us this time? Xiao Mei was also extremely excited. Don't worry, Mayor. Do you still need to doubt the palace lord's reward? If I can complete this mission, I will definitely break through to the 5th heaven of Venerable Realm. When the time comes, you can get whatever kind of yang qi you want. Really? That's great. Xiao Mei was overjoyed. and the charm on her face became even stronger. But father, it's not just us. The people from the Iron Sword sect and the Huangfu family are here as well. Once they get the news, they will definitely take action, Xiao Mei said worriedly. Iron Sword sect, Huangfu clan? Humph. If it wasn't for the sake of the plan and the fact that we can't reveal our identities, with the power of the Palace of Gods of War, we would be able to kill them instantly. Father, why isn't the Palace of War taking action? If they make a move, wouldn't the king's treasure be easily obtained? It's not as simple as you think. Xiao Li said in a deep voice, I'm afraid the Palace of Gods of War has already been sealed. There might be a terrifying battle happening there. As long as Palace Master Duan wins, we will be the heroes of the Palace of Gods of War. When Palace Master Duan dominates the world, we will also be able to dominate a region. Hearing this, Xiao Mei nodded, her eyes filled with joy. Oh, right, a few powerful young men came to Blackwater City today, but we don't know their identities. I sent Granny Silver to investigate and found out that these people are disciples of Senmu College. I'm afraid they are here to search for treasures. Senmu College? They are just a few small disciples. They can't do anything. Xiao Li smiled disdainfully, but then he asked, Do they know about the water dragon pill and the king's treasure? Yes. Xiao Mei nodded. Then we can't let them live. Although these disciples aren't a threat, if they spread the news back to Senmu College and attract some old monsters, things will be bad. Father, what do you mean? Kill them. We can't let those old monsters from Senmu College come. Okay. Father, 3 of the young men have yang qi that I like. I will take action now. Xiao Mei licked her lips, looking impatient. Don't be in such a hurry. We can't do it in Blackwater City. There are too many people here. If news spreads and Senmu College finds out that we did it, things will be troublesome. Once they leave the city, take action immediately. Don't leave a single one alive. As for the Yangqi you mentioned, you can do whatever you want with them, but you must kill them afterward. Xiao Li's voice was cold, and a murderous look appeared in his eyes. Don't worry, I know what to do. Xiao Mei's eyes wandered, and her charm became even stronger. I will suck them dry one by one. The yang qi of 3 venerables will definitely allow my cultivation to break through again. Xiao Mei's voice echoed in the hall. The next day, just as the sun rose, Lin Xian and the others left Blackwater City and headed for the Blackwater River. Blackwater City was a city in the Blackwater River basin, and it was still quite a distance away from the real Blackwater River. They didn't waste any time and had to set off quickly. However, what made them helpless was that the news of the king's treasure seemed to have spread. Countless martial artists headed for the Blackwater River like locusts. In the sky, martial artists flew past from time to time. Their powerful auras were like meteors streaking across the sky. Some forces even formed small teams to search for treasures and headed for the Blackwater River. Let's speed up too. We have to get to the Blackwater River as soon as possible. Otherwise, there won't be anything left of us when we arrive, Bing Ling said in a low voice. Lin Xian and the other 4 sped up and rushed into the sky like streaks of light. However, not long after they left, a cold laugh suddenly came from the void. Several figures quickly chased after them like ghosts. Lin Xian and the others were powerful. Almost all of them had the strength of a 3rd sky venerable. Therefore, their speed was extremely fast, far surpassing that of most martial artists. However, even so, they didn't reach the Blackwater River after a day of running. At night, darkness fell. Lin Xian and the others had no choice but to stop and rest. Although they didn't reach the Blackwater River, they weren't far from it. Powerful demonic beasts often appeared in this area. It was easy to lose one's life when traveling at night. Therefore, for safety's sake, Bing Ling decided to rest for the time being and set off after daybreak. a bonfire rose in the forest. It bloomed with dancing flames and lit up the surroundings. Lin Xian and the other 4 sat cross-legged around the bonfire. Yang Lin took out food from his storage ring and started eating. Although at their level, it wouldn't be a problem even if they didn't eat or drink for a long time. The temptation of delicious food wasn't something that anyone could resist. Other than the bonfire near Lin Xian and the other 4, the other places were dark. There were all sorts of roars coming from time to time. Chapter 859. Lin Xian knew that there were various demonic beasts lurking in the dark forest. There were even some powerful demon generals among them. If one were to sense it carefully, they would realize that there were traces of blood qi brewing in the air of this area. Through Bing Ling's explanation, Lin Xian realized that the blood qi was left behind from the extremely tragic battle thousands of years ago. Although thousands of years had passed, the blood and corpses of those powerhouses had not disappeared. Instead, they were buried deep under the ground. That was why the forest was shrouded in a faint blood qi. The bonfire flickered, and the weak flames became fireflies in the dark night, attracting the attention of countless martial artists. Many people rushed over. When they saw the beautiful faces of Murong Qingqing and Dongfang Fenghuang, as well as their proud figures, many people's eyes turned red, and evil flames rose in their bodies. In their opinion, how powerful could these young men be? If they wanted to capture them, wouldn't it be a piece of cake? As long as they caught them, the 2 beauties would be at their mercy. That was why many martial artists could not help but make a move. However, after a few screams, no one dared to make a move. In fact, they did not even dare to stay. This was because they had seen with their own eyes that a second-level honorable martial artist was split in half by the beautiful young lady. Her strength was too terrifying. Only a third-level honorable martial artist could kill a second-level honorable martial artist with a single strike. The young men in front of them actually had the strength of a third-level honorable martial artist. This was too shocking. Retreat. Countless martial artists' expressions changed, and they all fled, not daring to stay any longer. This time, the area finally quieted down. All right, it's getting late. Everyone get some rest. Yang Lin will be on guard tonight, Bing Ling said. Soon, Lin Xian and the others sat down cross-legged and closed their eyes, entering a state of cultivation. Yang Lin continued to lower his head, drinking and eating. However, this time, countless rays of light bloomed from his body and quickly scattered in all directions, forming a huge shadow of a golden bell that enveloped everyone. In the dark forest, it was better to be careful. With the protection of a golden seed, everyone's safety would be increased significantly. In the latter half of the night, the entire forest quieted down. At that time, the roaring beasts seemed to be tired and returned to their nests to rest. Only gusts of chilly wind blew in all directions, rustling the branches of the trees. At this moment, several cold gazes were fixed on Lin Xian and the others from the unseen darkness. Like ghosts in the dark, these people floated in the forest. It was very strange. The void rippled, and an alluring figure walked out. That was a dazzling woman. Her slender thighs and snow-white chest were all exposed, making her look incomparably flirtatious. Her delicate face was filled with boundless charm. Her eyes seemed to be able to draw out a man's most primitive desires. This woman was naturally Xiao Mei. She looked at the 5 figures in front of her and revealed a charming smile. Silver Granny, how are the preparations going? Everything is ready. We can make a move at any time, an old woman with a head full of white hair said in a low voice. Then what are you waiting for? Hurry up and do it. Remember, I want him alive. The seductive look in Xiao Mei's eyes intensified. This time I want to suck them dry. Granny Silver nodded slightly, then waved her walking stick and shouted, Do it! Instantly, countless black figures dashed out from behind her like ghosts. The void rippled without any sound. It was extremely strange. The void rippled, and countless crows attacked Lin Xian and the others. Boom! A low sound rang out as the crows collided with the golden bell, causing it to vibrate violently. In the next moment, Yang Lin suddenly raised his head. His body emitted light as he punched out. The air in front of him was sucked dry, and countless crows were blown apart. A vacuum appeared. At the same time, he let out a long whistle and quickly woke up Lin Xian and the others. There's a situation. When Lin Xian opened his eyes and saw the crows covering the sky, his face turned serious. These are blood crows. They live by eating the flesh and blood of martial artists, although their individual attacks are not very strong. When they gather together, they are a terrifying force. Bing Ling said in a low voice, "In the past, a third-level honorable died in the hands of these blood crows." Hearing this, Lin Xian and the others were shocked. They looked at the black figures around them with serious expressions. At the same time, Yang Lin reminded them, "Everyone be careful. The golden bell is about to break." Indeed, not long after, the golden bell broke into pieces. The blood crows were like demons as they rushed toward Lin Xian and the others. "You're courting death!" Lin Xian shouted coldly. He waved his arm and a sword, qi, slashed forward. Poof! Groups of blood, crows fell and turned into a bloody mist. However, the blood was devoured by the surrounding blood crows. At the same time, their eyes shone with a bloody light as they became even crazier. Shrill cries rang out in the night sky. They were like demonic sounds that were ear-piercing and made one's scalp tingle. "Oh no, these beasts are crazy. Everyone be careful." Bing Ling shouted and quickly attacked. "Let me." Eastern Phoenix shouted and waved her hand. Streaks of fiery red aura flowed out, and a terrifying heat wave swept out in all directions. Then, the shadow of a divine bird flew out quickly. Like a phoenix, it was reborn from the fire and instantly lit up half of the sky. The flaming divine bird spread its wings and circled in the sky with a sea of fire. In the sky, countless blood crows were surrounded by flames and let out miserable cries. Below, Eastern Phoenix formed a seal with her palm, and a fire lotus appeared on her fingertips. It quickly grew and enveloped the surroundings. Boom! Like a volcanic eruption, it quickly swept through the world. Any blood crows that were touched by it were instantly turned into ashes. Not even a mist was left. In an instant, the surroundings became empty. The crazy blood crows all disappeared and were burned to ashes. Hee, as expected of the disciples of Senmu College. Even the blood crows can't do anything to you. A low and hoarse voice sounded and floated around. It was very ethereal, and no one could tell where it came from. In the distance, countless black figures floated like ghosts, creating a tense atmosphere. "Who is it? Come out and die!" Yang Lin roared. His voice was like thunder, shattering the forest in front of him. Rows of trees fell down and a vacuum appeared. A figure quickly flew into the distance, like a ghost. Stay here." Yang Lin waved his hand. A huge palm of light rushed out like a huge mountain and blew up the void. The two of them were very fast and disappeared in an instant. Soon, the sound of fierce fighting could be heard in the distance. Terrifying spiritual energy fluctuations were like the sea of the abyss, vast and mighty. What a terrifying aura! "Who is it?" Eastern Phoenix and the others' faces darkened. "Wait here. Don't move. I'll be right back." Bing Ling said. Her figure flickered, and like a blue frost, she ran towards the sound of fighting. It was too strange. The other party knew their identity and dared to attack. They obviously came prepared. She had to find Yang Lin. However, another black figure appeared and floated in the air. In the next moment, The black figure's aura exploded and a powerful pressure shrouded the surroundings. Third level honorable. Bing Ling's pupils shrank and her face was cold. She did not expect the person to be so powerful. Chapter 860. The void split open, and another third heaven venerable flew towards Lin Xian and the others. Yi Yen sneered. Like a purple phantom, he dashed out and stopped the person. In an instant, a battle broke out. Bing Ling and the other 2/3 heaven martial artists were all restrained. Only Lin Xian and Dongfang Fenghuang were left. Their cultivation was only at the second heaven of venerable realm. It seemed that they had been ignored by the mysterious force. Looking at the sudden change, Lin Xian's face darkened. He looked around and became alert. Suddenly, he frowned and pulled Dongfang Fenghuang away. Boom! In the next moment, the ground where he was standing cracked open. A yellow stone pillar that looked like a spear pierced through the void with a terrifying aura. It was too terrifying. If they had been a little slower, Lin Xian and Dongfang Fenghuang would have been pierced. The piercer emitted a monstrous aura. A second heaven venerable could not withstand it at all. Even a third heaven venerable might not be able to withstand it. Hey, you dodged it! A low voice sounded with some surprise, as expected of a disciple of Senmu College. Even a second heaven venerable has such sharp senses and reaction speed. Interesting, interesting. Next, I hope you won't disappoint me. As soon as the voice sounded, the ground trembled. Countless rays of light rose quickly. An entire landscape within 100 miles changed drastically. This is... Lin Xian was shocked. He quickly rose into the air with Dongfang Fenghuang following behind him. However, in the next moment, a terrifying force separated the two of them. He let out a low growl and quickly threw a punch forward. Boom! The yellow cage shook but did not break. What a tough wall! Lin Xian's eyes narrowed. He had used a lot of strength, and even a second-level venerable realm cultivator would not have been able to withstand his punch. However, the earthen yellow wall had not been able to withstand his attack, and it had been damaged in the slightest. This was beyond his expectations. He looked around and realized that he was surrounded by yellow walls and countless boulders. The entire space was sealed and carried a heavy force. Your strength is not bad. A light voice sounded, and then a black figure appeared. The other party was wearing a ghost mask, so no one could see his true appearance. They could only recognize that it was a man from his voice. Third level venerable. Lin Xian exclaimed when he felt the aura of the other party. Your senses are very sharp. That's right. I'm a third level venerable. In front of him, the mysterious man smiled and said, Originally, I didn't need to do anything to deal with someone like you, but your reaction speed surprised me, so I'll play with you. As for that little female companion of yours, you don't have to worry either. I think there should be 4 second-level venerables accompanying her. Damn it. Lin Xian's expression darkened. Based on the other party's words, the Eastern Phoenix was currently fighting with 4 second heaven venerables. Who on earth was this person to actually dispatch so many experts to deal with them? All right, you don't have time to think about anything else, and don't try to guess our identities, because you'll never be able to guess. The mysterious man in front of him said in a light voice. There was a hint of mockery in his eyes. Seeing the other party's actions, Lin Xian was shocked, and he quickly used his movement technique to dodge. Sure enough, in the next moment, a yellow vortex appeared where he was. It was like a black hole, producing a huge suction force that crushed the void. Not bad. Your reaction is indeed fast. I didn't expect a second-level venerable to have such an exquisite movement technique. The mysterious man's eyes lit up. Obviously, he was very interested in Lin Xian's movement technique. He formed a seal with his palm, and a terrifying aura appeared in the void, turning into various attacks that quickly attacked Lin Xian. Lin Xian used his Earth stage identity, leaving a series of afterimages in the void. It's useless. It's useless no matter how fast you are because this is my Earth world. In an instant, the clones that Lin Xian had conjured were pierced. The entire space was densely packed with sharp, poisonous thorns. It's useless. You can't escape in my space, the mysterious venerable in front of him said casually. He seemed to be very casual, as if he didn't care about Lin Xian at all. Poisonous dragon piercing. In the next moment, he put his palms together and quickly waved them in the void. Suddenly, countless sharp thorns filled the air. They were terrifying and mysterious, and there were strange runes on the surface. The runes flickered, and the sharp thorns were extremely fast, piercing towards Lin Xian in an instant. Poof! The surrounding void was pierced, and Lin Xian's figure was also pierced. I said, "It's useless no matter how fast you are. In this space, I'm the ruler." The mysterious venerable chuckled again after piercing his opponent. "Is that so? Looks like you're very confident in your strength." Suddenly, a cold voice came from behind the mysterious venerable. It was like a sword light, and it made his hair stand on end. What? His pupils shrank, and his heart beat wildly. There was a third person in his space, and he didn't know about it? How is this possible? Just as he was about to move, he stopped in an instant because he felt an extremely sharp aura pressing against his back. As long as he moved, he was afraid that the aura would immediately pierce into his heart. Although he was a third-level venerable, if his heart was pierced, he would definitely die. Therefore, he didn't dare to move at all. "Who are you? How did you get in?" The mysterious venerable had an ugly expression, and his voice was filled with shock. In the next moment, he exclaimed again because he saw that Lin Xian's body, who was originally pierced, began to disintegrate, turning into a pool of blood and disappearing into the void. "Clone!" The mysterious venerable was shocked. In the next moment, he understood everything. The person behind him was none other than Lin Xian's real body. "It's good that you understand. Now tell me who sent you. Don't lie, or I'll kill you immediately." Lin Xian asked coldly. "You'll never know, because the dead don't need to know anything." In the next moment, the mysterious venerable in front of him suddenly laughed evilly. "Kid, don't think that you're the only one with a clone. Trap him." Before the voice disappeared, the figure in front of him suddenly trembled and instantly turned into a stone man. At the same time, a khaki-colored fist appeared behind him and blasted towards Lin Xian. The fist was as big as a millstone, and it carried a terrifying force that could shatter the void with a single strike. This change was too sudden. In an instant, the terrifying fist enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He didn't expect the other party to also have a mysterious clone technique. Looking at the incoming khaki-colored fist, he snorted coldly and punched out as well. Golden light surged, and a terrifying lightning fist broke through the void and blasted forward. This fist was too terrifying, and it lit up the entire space. The fist was covered with strange lightning runes, and it was incomparably mysterious and contained terrifying power. Boom! The two fists collided, and the entire space shook as if it would shatter at any time. What? A cry of surprise was heard. It was obviously from the mysterious venerable. Chapter 861. He was too shocked because he realized that his attack could not harm Lin Fan at all. Instead, Lin Fan's golden fist, which contained powerful lightning energy, shattered his stone clone. Who is this kid? Is he really just a second heaven honorable? The mysterious honorable martial artist was shocked. Originally, he thought that Lin Fan was only a second heaven honorable, so he did not take him seriously. However, after exchanging blows, he realized that Lin Fan was definitely not weaker than him. He could fight above his level. This guy was a genius. In an instant, the mysterious, honorable martial artist understood, and his face turned ugly. Originally, he thought that he had found an easy prey and could play with him. However, he did not expect Lin Fan to be a genius. It seemed that this battle had become very troublesome. The mysterious, honorable martial artist appeared again, and his eyes were terrifyingly gloomy. "Kid, I admit that you're very powerful, but you have no chance of winning against me. If I hadn't received orders to capture you alive, you would be a corpse now." "Corpse?" Lin Xian sneered. "I think you're daydreaming. Since you're so willing to dream, I'll send you to heaven. You're courting death." The mysterious, honorable martial artist was furious. Although Lin Xian was a genius, he was also a third heaven honorable. He would definitely not allow a young man to challenge him. With a roar, the spiritual energy in his body exploded. In the next moment, countless rays of light appeared on his body, and his skin began to turn into stone. In the end, his entire body was covered by thick rocks, and he looked like a stone man. The mysterious, honorable martial artist exuded a terrifying aura. He threw out a punch, and the terrifying fist enveloped the surroundings, shattering the void. It was extremely terrifying. This was a true third heaven honorable martial artist. He was extremely powerful, and now that he had attacked with his full strength, it was extremely terrifying. However, Lin Xian sneered, and the great dragon sword soul in his body suddenly exploded. He was powerful enough, and he was not afraid of the mysterious, honorable martial artist. Under such circumstances, he had to break through quickly and meet up with the others. Therefore, he immediately used the great dragon sword soul and attacked with his full strength. A dazzling sword light lit up like a blazing sun, and it bloomed in the void. Then it quickly slashed down. The light was too dazzling, and it lit up the entire void. At the same time, the aura that it carried was too terrifying. It was extremely sharp, as if it could destroy everything. A terrifying energy sound was heard, and in the next moment, the mysterious honorable martial artist flew backward. His arms were numb, and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. How is this possible? He turned pale with fright, and his face was filled with shock. He simply could not believe that he was injured by a young man at the second sky of the Venerable Realm. One had to know that he was an Earth attribute martial artist. His defensive power was the strongest. Very few people in the same rank could injure him. "You're courting death." The mysterious, venerable master was enraged. He no longer cared about the order to capture Lin Xian alive. He circulated his spiritual energy and quickly released his martial soul, wanting to suppress Lin Xian. Lin Xian was also surprised. His sword strike just now was incomparably fierce, but his opponent had actually received it with only minor injuries. His opponent was indeed strong. If he wanted to kill the other party in a short period of time, he would have to use extraordinary means. Lin Xian snorted coldly when he saw his opponent unleash his martial soul. He reached out and grabbed the black package. "Don't waste your energy. No matter how you struggle, you'll still die." The mysterious, honorable being floated in the void, emitting a powerful aura. In his opinion, as long as he released his martial soul, he would definitely be able to kill Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian sneered and shook his head. He ignored his opponent's words and quickly opened the black package. Then he held the Lone Star sword. Seeing Lin Xian holding the sword, the mysterious venerable master's eyelids twitched violently. He felt an inexplicable sense of uneasiness in his heart. He was extremely shocked. He could not understand how a second sky of the Venerable Realm could make him feel the aura of death. This brat must be eliminated. The mysterious Venerable Master felt a chill in his heart. He would not allow such a threat to remain in this world. "Brat, die." He released his martial soul and released a terrifying palm strike. A trace of fear appeared in the mysterious Venerable Master's heart. Only by killing Lin Xian could he eliminate this fear. On the other side, Lin Xian pulled out the Lone Star's sword and slashed out. A terrifying sword qi flashed like a real dragon. It was extremely terrifying. What? The mysterious, venerable master was horrified. He realized that this sword qi was too terrifying. It was not something he could resist. That's a half-Earth-rank treasure. Finally, he recognized the Lone Star sword in Lin Xian's hand. He did not expect that a second sky of the Venerable Realm would have such a heaven-defying item. The mysterious Venerable Master swallowed his saliva and felt his scalp go numb. In the next moment, he turned around and fled. He did not dare to fight anymore. His arrogance and dignity were all gone at this moment. He had no chance of winning against a half-Earth-rank treasure. His body swayed, and the mysterious Venerable Master turned into a ray of light and fled into the distance. However, Lin Xian's sword qi was faster than him. It descended above his head in an instant and then quickly fell. No open. The mysterious Venerable Master screamed and released his martial soul to resist with all his might. In the next moment, he was enveloped by the sword qi. Ah! The mysterious, venerable Master screamed. His eyes were filled with fear and regret. He could not resist the sword qi at all and was instantly split in half. Not only him, but the entire sealed earth space was also split open by the sword. Lin Xian's body swayed, and he came to the outside world. At this moment, the nearby void cracked, and the Eastern Phoenix also came out. In the distance, several air-piercing sounds could be heard. Those figures were none other than Bingling and the others. At this moment, they had escaped from the battlefield and rushed back. "Are you guys okay?" Bingling asked. Everyone looked at Lin Xian and the Eastern Phoenix. "I'm fine." Lin Xian shook his head slightly. He wrapped up the Lone Star sword again and carried it on his back. Everyone looked at the third sky of the Venerable Realm that was split in half, and their eyelids twitched. Lin Xian was too terrifying. With a half-Earth-rank treasure, he could kill an ordinary third sky of the Venerable Realm like cutting vegetables. "You're really a monster." Dongfang Fenghuang also lightly snorted. She had spent a lot of effort to escape from the sealed space. At this moment, her small face was covered in sweat, and there were many bloodstains on her body. On the other hand, Lin Xian looked calm, as if splitting open the sealed space was effortless. Seeing everyone's strange looks, Lin Xian touched his nose helplessly, then changed the topic. "Do you know who these people are? We just came to Blackwater City and did not come into contact with anyone. The only person we had a conflict with was probably that seductive woman. These people are most likely from the Blackwater City's City Lord Mansion," Bingling said. "City Lord Mansion." Lin Xian and the others' faces darkened when they heard this. "These people are really daring. They actually dared to attack us." Yan Lin snorted coldly. Lin Xian also said, "They seem to know that we are Senmu College's disciples, but they still dared to attack us. It seems that there is a reason we don't know." Bingling looked around and said cautiously, "Everyone be careful! The battle here has probably alarmed other martial artists. It's not good to stay here. Let's leave quickly." Chapter 862. After which, the five of them set off once again. Not long after Lin Xian and the rest left, a group of people appeared where they were originally. One of them was the seductive Xiao Mei. However, her seductive face was now extremely ferocious. Damn it, how is this possible? They can actually kill a third heaven honorable. Looking at the corpse on the ground, Xiao Mei's face was extremely ugly. Behind him, the white-haired silver grandma also frowned, her eyes shining with a terrifying light. What a terrifying sword technique! Her heart trembled a little as she looked at the large hole that had been split open. It seems that we have underestimated them." Silver Grandma shook her head. "The disciples of Senmu College are indeed very strong. No, we must capture them." Xiao Mei's face was pale and her voice was cold. "I must send the news back and get my father to send more people. How dare they kill the people of Blackwater City? I will not let them go." Xiao Mei's cold voice echoed in the air. After a night of running, Lin Xian and the rest finally arrived at Blackwater River. In front of them, a black river roared like a black dragon. It was entrenched on the ground, and one could not see the end of it. The river water surged, occasionally emitting a cold aura. Even an honorable would feel a little uncomfortable. Legend had it that this river had buried countless experts and had absorbed the blood of kings. It was extremely terrifying. They originally thought that it was just a legend, but now it seemed that it was very likely to be true. Bing Ling's beautiful eyes moved as she looked at the black river in front of them. At this moment, they were not the only ones. Many martial artists had come near Blackwater River. Their eyes were burning with greed. Some of them were even impatient and did not want to stay. They directly rushed towards Blackwater River. The spiritual energy in their bodies surged, forming a defensive barrier around them as they rushed into Blackwater River. This action immediately angered the demonic beasts in the river. Countless demonic beasts roared in anger. Boom! 100-meter-long water python roared with all its might. Its terrifying tail was like a heavenly knife, cutting the river water and creating countless waves. Poof! Many martial artists did not dodge in time and were hit by the tail. Blood splattered everywhere. In an instant, all sorts of screams could be heard in Blackwater River. However, these screams could not stop the other martial artists. Countless figures dove into the river like sharp swords. "Let's go down too," Bing Ling said. Cold air circled around her body, forming an ice armor that wrapped around her petite figure. The others also used their own methods to form a defensive barrier against the impact of the river. Lin Xian smiled. Sword qi erupted from his body and quickly intertwined to form a ball of sword qi that enveloped his body. Then, the 5 of them quickly rushed to the Blackwater River. The river surged, creating waves that were tens of meters high. Roar! Suddenly, a deep roar was heard, accompanied by a terrifying demonic aura. As soon as Lin Xian and the others entered the water, they were targeted. A demonic beast covered in dark green scales glared fiercely at Lin Xian and the others. It opened its bloody maw, bringing with it a monstrous bloody aura. Its long fangs even had the remains of a few warriors' corpses. Clearly, this demonic beast had eaten more than one person. A 2-star fiend general dares to be impudent. Lin Xian coldly snorted and pointed a finger. Roar! Seeing that the humans had attacked, the water demon became even more furious. Its huge head shook and a blue light beam shot out from its mouth. The blue light surged and the murderous aura carried with it a terrifying aura. It rushed toward Lin Xian and the others. Lin Xian's sword qi gathered at the tip of his finger and formed a dragon that roared out. The finger radiance was extremely sharp. It hit the blue light beam hard and shattered it. Then, it quickly pierced the water demon's heart. Roar! The water demon let out an unwilling roar and fell down, creating countless ripples in the water. The surrounding river water was dyed black and red. "Let's go!" Bing Ling turned around and prepared to leave. There's something." Yi Yan's eyes flashed. His eyes emitted a purple divine light that pierced through the void like 2 rays of light. In the next moment, he waved his hand and sent the huge water demon's corpse flying. Then he grabbed at the soil below. Poof! The bottom of the water cracked open, and a deep hole appeared. However, in the deep hole, there was a crystal clear pearl that was the size of a fist. Rays of light flowed on the pearl, and it contained a shocking power. "Water spiritual pearl!" Yi Yan exclaimed. Upon hearing this, Bing Ling turned around abruptly and looked ahead. Her eyes were filled with shock. Lin Xian and the others also looked over. Although they did not know the specific use of the water spiritual pearl, the power it contained was shocking. Good stuff. Yi Yan smiled. Then he turned into a purple radiance and rushed down. Gurgle, gurgle. However, just as he landed, the river water suddenly surged as if it was boiling. A silver sword radiance slashed toward him. You're courting death. Yi Yan did not expect that someone would dare to attack him at this time. He shouted angrily and threw out a palm. A purple mist formed and floated forward. Boom! A deep sound was heard. The wave slapped in all directions and created a powerful force that pushed Yi Yan back. However, the silver sword radiance was also corroded by the purple mist and disappeared into the water. Who is it? Come out! Yi Yan shouted coldly. The purple radiance in his eyes shone brightly as he looked around. Humph, arrogant brat. A sneer was heard. Then the river water surged. Countless figures appeared and surrounded Lin Xian and the others. These people were surrounded by radiance and had weapons in their hands. They were murderous and had a bloody aura. It was obvious that they had killed many people. In front of them, there were two figures standing there like giant mountains. They were middle-aged men. One was bald and the other had a palm-sized scar on his face. Their auras were unusually strong. They must be the leaders of these people. Who are you? What do you want? Yi Yan asked coldly. What do we want? The bald man sneered. We have been eyeing this water spiritual pearl for many days. We were not careful, and it was almost taken away by you little brats. Little brats, if you know what's good for you, get out of here. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing you. The scarred man smiled evilly. Of course, those two beauties must stay. I have never seen such beautiful girls. One is ice and the other is fire. One is cold and the other is arrogant. They are the best in the world. Hearing this, the surrounding martial artists laughed. Countless eyes looked at Bing Ling and Dongfang Fenghuang unscrupulously. Humph! Bing Ling's face darkened. A murderous intent appeared in her eyes. Dongfang Fenghuang was even more direct. She threw a palm at the scarred man. Whoosh! When the fiery red palm appeared, the entire river started to boil. It was as if it was boiling and became scalding hot. Nonsense! I will tear your mouth apart. Dongfang Fenghuang shouted and quickly threw out her palm. Chapter 863. Fire Attribute? Haha, this is the bottom of the river. How much power can your flames exert? A tall and skinny martial artist sneered, his eyes full of disdain. The next moment he struck out with a punch. A grayish aura covered his fist, tearing the black water apart and colliding with the fiery red palm. Boom! With a buzzing sound, white mist rose from the surroundings. It was the evaporated water from the flames. The tall and skinny martial artist screamed as he held his arm and retreated. At the same time, his eyes were filled with horror. The attack just now was like hitting a volcano. The horrifying heat immediately burned his palm. Not only that, the red flames quickly climbed up his arm as if they were going to melt him. In shock, he did not dare to continue the fight and quickly retreated. Dongfang Fenghuang snorted as she pulled out the red whip from her waist and swung it forward. Buzz! The river water was whipped apart. The red whip was like a red dragon, swimming quickly and dragging the tall and skinny martial artist back in an instant. You, what are you doing? The tall and skinny martial artist was finally afraid. He was no longer as arrogant as before. What am I doing? I'll let you have a taste of my flames. Dongfang Fenghuang's face was cold. The dirty words from these people had made her very angry, so she did not show any mercy. Oh no, faction leader, save me. Seeing the red palm, the tall and skinny martial artist screamed in fear. You're courting death. Put him down. The bald man was furious. Someone dared to hit his underling in front of him. Was he tired of living? With a shake of his hand, a long spear appeared in his hand, and he quickly stabbed it out. With a flash of light, the long spear seemed to come alive. It turned into a water python and rushed over quickly. You want to fight? Lin Xian's body swayed as he stood up. He stretched out his arm and shouted, "Dragon catching hand!" Boom! The golden light covered the sky as a horrifying aura shook the surroundings. A golden shadow surged out like a golden dragon, roaring. In an instant, the golden dragon entangled the long spear. The dragon's body coiled and formed a horrifying, strangling force. The horrifying explosion of energy forced the bald man to step back. At the same time, Dong Fenghuang's palm fell and burned the martial artist to ashes. Seeing this scene, the surrounding martial artists were shocked and dumbstruck. Their leader had been knocked back by a second-layer martial highness? Was this a dream? The scarred man's pupils also shrank, and his expression was extremely solemn. A second-rank Venerable Realm cultivator was actually able to force a third-rank Venerable Realm cultivator back. This was a battle that surpassed one's cultivation level. Who is this kid? Who are these people? Scram or die. Lin Xian's cold voice shook the area. Hearing this, the bald man's expression became extremely ugly. The other party was simply too arrogant. Brat, you're the first one who dares to be so insolent to our White Sharks gang. The scarred man said in a deep voice, in this Blackwater River basin, even the three great forces will give us some face. I'm not from the three great forces, so I don't need to give you any face. Lin Xian said coldly. If you don't scram, don't blame me for being rude. As soon as he finished speaking, a sharp sword chi formed on his body and enveloped the surroundings. Not only were the members of the White Sharks gang shocked, but even Bing Ling and the others were shocked. They had never seen such a domineering side of Lin Xian. Now, it seemed that this handsome young man was not to be trifled with. Brat, you're too arrogant. The scarred man's face darkened. This time, the White Sharks gang has lost. Let's go. He waved his hand and immediately led countless martial artists away. Boss, why don't we attack? Even if they're strong, we have more people. We can definitely take them down. The bald man said. Forget it. The other party is strong, and we don't know their identity. If we attack recklessly, even if we win, we'll suffer heavy losses. Moreover, the king's treasure is about to appear. It's stupid to waste our strength now, the scarred man said in a deep voice. So we're just going to let it go. The bald man gritted his teeth. Let it go? How is that possible? The scarred man's eyes were gloomy and filled with murderous intent. How dare they provoke our White Sharks gang? How can we let it go? When we have the chance, we'll definitely kill these brats. The scarred man's voice was cold. Obviously, it wasn't that he didn't want to attack, but that the timing wasn't right. Looking at the departing figures of the group, Bing Ling and the others heaved a sigh of relief. Although the other party's combat strength was not as good as theirs, they had the advantage in numbers. If they really attacked, it would be hard to say who would win. Now that they could scare the other party, it couldn't be better. The few of them looked at Lin Xian with strange expressions. This guy's aura was too strong. Dongfang Phoenix also exclaimed, I didn't realize that you had such a cool side to you. This group of people bully the weak and fear the strong. If you don't act tough, you won't scare them away. Lin Xian shrugged. At this moment, Yi Yan's figure flashed, and he took the water spirit pearl. Yi Yan, this water spirit pearl is very useful for my cultivation. Can I exchange it with something? Bing Ling asked. She was an ice-based martial artist. It could be said that she was a mutation of the water element. The water spirit pearl contained a powerful water element energy that would be of great help to her. Sure, Yi Yan nodded. The energy in the water spirit pearl was not very useful to him. It was best to exchange it with something else. Soon, the two of them completed the exchange. Bing Ling put the water spirit pearl into her storage ring, and a trace of joy appeared on her face. Let's go to the depths of the black water river. The five of them moved like 5 nimble fish, shuttling through the water at high speed. The black water river was very mysterious. The underwater world was similar to the outside world. There were mountains and valleys under the ground and a group of green plants. It was like an underwater world. However, compared to the land, it was more dangerous here because you didn't know where a water monster would swim out from. Moreover, the black river water was like ink, blurring one's vision. In general, the world under the Blackwater River was much more dangerous than the land. They didn't encounter any trouble along the way. They walked very quickly, and finally, they reached the depths of the Blackwater River. Floating in the river, Lin Xian looked down. He saw that there were mountains below, and the terrain was strange. In the west, there was a huge crack, as if the bottom of the river had been cut open. Traces of thicker black water emerged from the crack. It was eerie and terrifying. It is said that the place where the Niwa of Gojoseon fell. Bing Ling looked at the terrifying big crack and said in a low voice, "No wonder." Lin Xian nodded. He did feel an unusual aura from the big crack. Yang Lin looked around and said with dissatisfaction, "There are so many people. Even if there is a treasure, we can't take it away secretly." Indeed, there were too many people around. The number of people was so spectacular that it seemed to surpass the number of water monsters at the bottom of the river. There are so many people. We don't have to look for it. Why don't we wait for the treasure to appear? Lin Xian and the others agreed. Indeed, even if they found it, they would be besieged. Rather than that, it was better to preserve their strength and wait for others to find it. Chapter 864. They found an open space and sat down cross-legged, waiting for the treasure to appear. Gradually, there were more and more martial artists in the surroundings. The originally oppressive river bottom world became lively. There were even some martial artists who met their enemies and directly started fighting, causing the scene to be extremely chaotic. Suddenly, the river trembled, and the black river water surged, making a rumbling sound. The warriors quickly stopped and retreated to the side. Lin Xian and the rest opened their eyes and looked into the distance. Although it was dark, Lin Xian's soul power was extremely strong, and he could clearly see the scene in the distance. He realized that it was not the beasts that caused the tremors, but the people. To be exact, it was 2 groups of people. On the left, a huge black shadow appeared, like a moving mountain, causing the ground to tremble, the river water to surge, and the underwater mountains to crack. "Killer whale!" someone exclaimed and took a deep breath. Lin Xian also squinted his eyes. It was indeed a killer whale, a powerful water demon, and its strength was at the level of a demon general. It was like a huge blue mountain with yellow stripes on it, like tiger stripes. It shone with a demonic light, and a strong demonic aura surged out, sweeping across the land. On the back of the killer whale, there were almost 100 figures. These people carried iron swords on their backs, and their sword auras were sharp. Iron Sword Clan. This powerful force was the Iron Sword Clan that Lin Xian had met before. The other side was probably the Huangfu clan. He turned his eyes and looked in the other direction. The Huangfu clan also came on a huge beast. It was a giant crab, and its body was red like glass. It waved its huge pincers and easily cracked the ground. On the back of the beast, there were 100 Huangfu clan members, and they formed a terrifying aura. The arrival of the 2 forces made the entire space fall into a short silence. They were too powerful. Lin Xian and the rest also looked serious. The number of people on the other side had doubled, and it was obvious that they were well prepared for the king's treasure. Bing Ling frowned slightly. Compared to the other side, they were at a disadvantage. However, this was normal. According to the information on the Academy's mission, this was just an ordinary Venerable One's treasure. The current team of Bingling and the others was more than enough. However, who would have thought that the Venerable One's treasure would turn into a king's treasure? This made their team, which was originally sure to win, feel somewhat awkward. We can only play it by ear now. Remember, staying alive is the most important thing. Lin Xian and the others nodded, indicating that they understood. At this moment, the ground began to tremble again, as if it was about to split open. With the previous two experiences, no one panicked this time. Instead, they uniformly looked into the distance. They knew that only those terrifying demon generals could cause such a commotion. As expected, another black silhouette appeared in front of him, carrying a terrifying demonic aura with it. Blackwater City. Yi Yan's eyes flickered with purple light as he looked ahead and said coldly. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes and raised his head to look. He saw that the black shadow was a giant anaconda, ferocious and terrifying. On top of the python's head stood a figure that was incomparably seductive. On top of the giant anaconda stood countless martial artists. They wore black robes and their auras were fierce. Seeing those people, the faces of Lin Xian and the others sank. They realized that the clothes and auras of those people were very similar to the mysterious group that attacked them in the night. Humph. Dongfang Feng Huang looked into the distance and coldly snorted. She was extremely disgusted by that seductive woman. Xiao Mei naturally saw Lin Xian and the others, and the corner of her mouth instantly curled up into a devilish smile. He Mayangqi, you can't run away. Xiao Mei naturally saw Lin Xian and the others, but she did make a move. This was because the current situation wasn't suitable for settling personal grudges. The giant anaconda moved quickly like a peerless, ferocious beast and stopped at a nearby mountain range. The entire space became oppressive once again. Countless martial artists held their breaths, not daring to breathe too loudly. This was because the three-headed demon general platform was too powerful. The pressure it created enveloped the entire space. Lin Xian and the others also retracted their gazes and sat down cross-legged again, waiting quietly. As time passed, the entire bottom of the Black River became very quiet. Gradually, a strange aura spread out in the vicinity. Through his powerful soul power, Lin Xian acutely sensed that the strange aura was coming from the great Rift Valley in the distance. Not only that, the aura was getting stronger and stronger. Wisps of black gas condensed into bubbles and quickly rose from the great Rift Valley. This phenomenon wasn't only noticed by Lin Xian, but also by the others. Many people stood up excitedly and looked at the great Rift Valley in front of them with fiery eyes. In front of them, countless bubbles appeared in the terrifying Great Rift Valley, forming a very strange scene. The black bubbles quickly floated in the water and condensed together, forming a blurry black figure. The figure was too blurry. Only one person could be vaguely seen, and the others couldn't be seen clearly. However, the moment the black figure condensed, it emitted an ancient aura that quickly spread out in all directions. The aura was too terrifying. It directly pressed the three demon generals to the ground. Lin Xian and the others also held their breaths and looked over with rapt attention. After the figure appeared, the surrounding river water also fluctuated violently and quickly gathered in front of the figure. Countless black water condensed under the blurry figure, forming a black dragon that circled under the figure's feet. In the next moment, a low dragon's roar was heard. Like muffled thunder, it quickly spread out in all directions. This roar contained an aura that made one's soul tremble. Those martial artists with weaker strength all trembled and sat on the ground, paralyzed. However, their eyes were filled with madness. Countless people shouted crazily as if they were possessed. Lin Xian and the others also changed their expressions, especially Bingling. She, who was as cold as ice, showed a surprised expression for the first time. Niwa of Gojoseon. She was too shocked. That aura was definitely not something a venerable could release. It was the aura of a king. That blurry figure was actually a king. Needless to say, there was only one king who had fallen in the Black River, and that was the famous Niwa of Gojoseon from thousands of years ago. At this moment, everyone was in a frenzy. Old monster Su from the Iron Sword sect and the middle-aged expert from the Huangfu family all looked ahead with solemn expressions. On the giant python's head, Xiao Mei also put away her seductive appearance. Her expression was filled with madness and passion. A king's treasure. It's really a king's treasure. She was too excited. She was far more excited than the others. This was because the Blackwater City had a water dragon pill. It was personally refined by the Niwa of Gojoseon. Not only her, but all the warriors in the Blackwater City were so excited that they were trembling. This is the Niwa of Gojoseon. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Sword light flashed in his eyes as he carefully sensed the other party's aura. Chapter 865. Shocking, it was indeed shocking. That aura was too powerful, as if it had a natural suppression on martial artists, making them want to kneel down and worship it. Fortunately, he had the great dragon sword soul in his body, which could ignore the suppression. Otherwise, he would not be in a good condition. In front of him, the hazy figure stood in the water, exuding an unparalleled suppression. Under the fervent gazes of countless people, the hazy figure slowly raised its arm. It's moving, it's moving. Countless people were excited, and they were all nervously watching the hazy figure's every move. Lin Xian was also nervously watching. The hazy figure in front of him slowly raised its arm with its palm facing the sky, exuding an aura that looked down on the world. In the next moment, the Black River water splashed and quickly condensed toward the hazy figure. It kept rolling and surging into the figure's palm. A black energy ball quickly condensed on the figure's palm, flashing with a terrifying light. Soon, the black energy ball entered the palm and quickly flowed along the fingers. The 5 fingertips emitted light, and 5 pillars of light shot out. They were like 5 true dragons rushing in 5 directions. A deep dragon roar sounded, and the 5 true dragons quickly grew in size, forming a 300-meter long body. They tore the river water apart, roaring and rushing in all directions. Everyone held their breaths, dumbfounded. The 5 ferocious true dragons stood in 5 different directions. Then, their huge bodies circled and drilled into the river. Boom! 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 Terrifying vibrations were produced, and the bottom of the river seemed to be on the verge of cracking. Boom! 5 black pillars of light surged out from the ground and rushed into the sky, converging into a point. Lin Xian and the rest raised their heads and looked at the black point in the sky. The black point quickly grew in size, forming a pitch-black door. The black door shone with a black light, and there were 2 lifelike black dragons swimming on it. They emitted a terrifying aura, as if it was the gate of hell. Treasure, the king's treasure, it's finally appeared. Countless people raised their heads and shouted crazily, their eyes filled with madness. They were too excited. The king's treasure that had been buried for thousands of years had finally appeared, and they had even encountered it. This was definitely an extremely lucky thing. As long as they could enter the black door and obtain 1 or 2 treasures, they would be able to laugh proudly. After all, it was the treasure left behind by a king. Thinking of this, countless people took to the air and rushed toward the pitch-black gate in the sky. Lin Xian looked at the pitch-black door in the sky and took a deep breath. He was also very tempted by the things left behind by the kings. Previously, he had obtained a king's inheritance. With that king's inheritance, he was able to kill experts above his level. And now, the treasure in front of him was actually a king's treasure. After tasting the sweetness of a king's legacy, how could Lin Xian give up on the king's treasure? The others were also tempted. No one could remain calm in front of a king's treasure. Maintain the formation. We'll rush up too, Icicle said in a deep voice. At this moment, there was a hint of redness on her calm face. In the next moment, she stomped her foot and shot upwards like a shooting star. Lin Xian and the others followed behind her and charged upwards as well. When Lin Xian arrived in front of the black door, he immediately took a deep breath. He could clearly feel the terrifying pressure emanating from the black door. At the same time, he sensed an aura that was slightly similar to his profound jade platform. Could it be a teleportation array? Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat. The black door in front of him was very likely a special teleportation array that transported everyone to the real king's treasure. Sure enough, when he stepped into the pitch-black door, he felt an extremely strong spatial force covering his body and forcibly taking him away. When he reappeared, he found himself in an unfamiliar place. There was no black river around him, and Icicle and the others were not beside him. It seemed that the teleportation array did not have any rules. It was a random teleportation array. Although Lin Xian entered with Icicle and the others, they were teleported to a completely different place. Lin Xian looked around and found that there were other houses in this place besides his. However, he did not recognize any of them. Moreover, he found that this place was extremely strange. The air was very cold, and even the naked eye could see streaks of white, icy aura dancing in the air. If Icicle were here, she would definitely be overjoyed. This environment would greatly increase her combat strength. Lin Xian shook his head slightly. This kind of weather was not good for him. He circulated the spiritual qi in his body and formed a protective shield, blocking the cold aura outside of his body. He turned around and prepared to leave. However, at this moment, the little white monkey flew out of the demonic beast pouch. It pulled his hair and pointed in a direction, shouting nonstop. There's something. Lin Xian was familiar with the little white monkey's behavior. It would only react like this when there was a treasure. Let's go and see. Lin Xian put the little white monkey on his shoulder and then stomped his feet. His whole body was like an arrow that left the bow, quickly rushing into the distance. After flying for a short while, he saw a snowy valley that was emitting an even colder aura. In the middle of the valley, there was a blue lotus that was the size of a millstone, swaying with the wind. Snowy demonic lotus. Lin Xian was stunned for a moment and then exclaimed in a low voice. He recognized the snow lotus in the middle of the ice valley. Snowy demonic lotus was an extremely rare ice attribute spirit treasure, especially the lotus seeds that it produced. They gathered the power of extreme coldness. It could condense a martial artist's spiritual power and strengthen their qi and blood. It was extremely beneficial for martial artists. Moreover, this thing was extremely rare and usually only grew in extremely cold places. He did not expect to see a snowy demonic lotus here. It was indeed a king's treasure. It was indeed a big deal to encounter such a treasure as soon as he entered. The little white monkey shouted excitedly. It could not wait any longer. If it were not for Lin Xian holding it back, it would have rushed out long ago. Wu Ji, the little white monkey was dissatisfied. Don't worry, I'll take you there now, Lin Xian comforted. This place was very unfamiliar. He did not know if it was dangerous, so he was worried about the little white monkey going alone. He had just comforted the little white monkey when an extremely arrogant laughter came from the side. Ha ha ha. Snowy demonic lotus. It's actually a snowy demonic lotus. This voice contained a strong sense of ecstasy. Then, Lin Xian saw a voice rushing toward the ice valley like a stream of light. The figure was very fast and entered the ice valley in an instant, arriving near the snowy, demonic lotus. In the next moment, he stretched out a huge spiritual power hand and grabbed downward. "Haha, this snowy, demonic lotus is mine." The figure laughed arrogantly. However, before the light hand landed, a blue light pierced through the void and instantly pierced through the figure. The figure did not even have time to scream before he died in the air and fell to the ground. This scene shocked all the surrounding cultivators. Originally, these people's eyes were burning with passion and they couldn't wait to rush into the valley. But now, seeing this scene, they all stopped, their faces filled with fear. Chapter 866. Lin Xian squinted his eyes and looked at the valley with a grave expression. The attack was so fast that even he could not see it clearly. He only saw a blue ray of light shoot out and kill the martial artist instantly. That move was too terrifying. It was even more powerful than an ordinary third-level honorable. This sudden turn of events stunned everyone. Even Lin Xian was extremely shocked. "It's the ice toad." The crimson dragon poked its head out and said softly. Lin Xian focused his gaze and looked forward like a sword. Indeed, he saw a blue shadow moving quickly under the lotus. It should be the ice toad that the crimson dragon had mentioned. It seemed like it was not that simple. Lin Xian sighed. Such a treasure would definitely be guarded by a powerful demonic beast. Otherwise, it would have been taken away by someone else. It's just an ice toad. Do you really think it can protect the ice snow lotus? A disdainful voice sounded, followed by the sound of something breaking through the air. A middle-aged woman with an enchanting figure appeared in the air. She looked down at the ice snow demon spirit and the ice toad with a burning gaze. Then, under the envious gazes of the crowd, the middle-aged woman flew towards the ice snow valley. Seeing that there were humans who dared to enter, the ice toad cried out angrily and spat out a blue bubble. An extremely strong energy was emitted from the bubble, causing the surrounding air to freeze. The middle-aged woman saw it and laughed in disdain. She waved her hands and sent out countless palm shadows. Boom! The palm shadows that filled the sky collided with the ice bubble. Immediately, a clanging sound was heard, as if they had hit metal. In the next moment, the ice toad was sent flying. The middle-aged woman reached out to grab the ice lotuses. Poof! She grabbed the ice lotus in her hand and pulled it out forcefully. The bewitching frost lotus was pulled out by her. Seeing this, the surrounding martial artists' breathing quickened. They looked at the middle-aged woman with red eyes. The middle-aged woman snorted and emitted a powerful aura of an honorable martial artist. Everyone was stunned. Instantly, countless martial artists shook their heads and regained their clarity. They knew that the middle-aged woman was very powerful and was not someone they could deal with. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and prepared to attack. Others might be afraid of the middle-aged woman, but he wasn't. It was impossible for him to give up a treasure like the demonic ice lotus. However, in the next moment he was stunned, because he discovered that another ice lotus had appeared in the valley, blooming beautifully. This, not only Lin Xian, but all the other martial artists were also stunned. This matter was too strange. Could it be that there was more than one bewitching frost lotus? Thinking of this possibility, everyone's eyes lit up again. If this was true, then they all had chance. Lin Xian was also stunned and puzzled. That's right, the one that was plucked wasn't the real demonic frost lotus, the Crimson Dragon suddenly said. The real demonic frost lotus is still in the valley. It's not true? Then what is it? Lin Xian frowned. From the looks of it, it doesn't seem fake. The accompanying ice lotus is also a kind of spiritual medicine that grows with the demonic frost lotus, the Crimson Dragon said. In fact, the demonic frost lotus evolved from the accompanying ice lotus. According to the Crimson Dragon's description, Lin Xian understood that there was no such thing as a demonic frost lotus. They were all ordinary ice lotuses. However, these ice lotuses competed together, and in the end, the winner evolved into the demonic frost lotus, while the others became the accompanying ice lotus. As if to prove the Crimson Dragon's words, countless accompanying ice lotuses appeared in the ice valley in front of them. They slowly rotated and emitted a blue light. So many. The surrounding martial artists were shocked and then ecstatic. They didn't know about the accompanying ice lotuses, but this didn't stop them from being ecstatic. This many ice lotuses were enough for them to share. When she saw this scene, the face of the middle-aged woman from before sank. A trace of anger surfaced in her long and narrow eyes. Get lost. In the next moment, she roared and waved her sleeve. A terrifying force blasted several nearby martial artists into a bloody mist. Retreat. Countless martial artists felt their scalps go numb. They quickly distanced themselves from the middle-aged woman and flew towards the ice valley from another direction. Roar. Soon, angry roars came from the ice valley. Several huge figures appeared and fought with the martial artists. It seemed that there was more than one guardian beast. Lin Xian also moved and flew towards the ice valley. However, another angry roar came from the side. Get lost. The voice was like thunder, surging towards Lin Xian. The surrounding icebergs exploded, unable to withstand the force. It turned out that the surrounding martial artists had all retreated. Only Lin Xian was still there, and he was flying towards the middle-aged woman. This was normal because it was the shortest route. Any martial artist would do this. However, this action was seen as a provocation in the eyes of the middle-aged woman. Moreover, she was in a bad mood because she did not get the real bewitching frost lotus. She could vent her anger on Lin Xian. Lin Xian's face darkened. He did not provoke her at all, but she wanted to kill him. Even a clay figurine would be angry, let alone him. Humph! With a cold snort, Lin Xian bent his finger and flicked it out quickly. A blood-red sword wave rushed out quickly. Wherever it passed, the ground shattered. Bang! The sword wave and the sound wave collided, making a buzzing sound. What? The middle-aged woman suddenly exclaimed. She found that the sword wave had cut through the sound wave and was rushing towards her. She could not believe it. Her opponent was a level 2 brat. She could kill such a person with a shout. However, the situation was beyond her expectations. With a cold snort, the middle-aged woman waved her palm and released a vast amount of energy. The terrifying light palm and the blood-red sword wave collided, making a shocking explosion again. In the chaotic airflow, the middle-aged woman took a step back. Lin Xian, on the other hand, maintained his speed and flew toward the ice valley. Damn it! Looking at the disappearing figure, the middle-aged woman was extremely angry. She could not bear that a junior had forced her to retreat. However, she could not help but heave a sigh of relief. The sword wave just now was too sharp and made her feel uncomfortable. What a strange brat! The middle-aged woman's eyes were gloomy. She snorted and flew towards the valley. However, this time, she did subconsciously avoid Lin Xian. The ice valley was extremely chaotic. There were battles everywhere, and terrifying energy filled the entire space. Countless warriors and monsters were fighting. It was a terrifying scene. Both sides were bloodshot. Not only that, the battles between the warriors were even more tragic. Often, they would be killed by the nearby warriors if they were not paying attention. For a time, everyone was extremely vigilant and did not dare to let others get close to them. Lin Xian saw all of this. He did not pay attention to these people, nor did he stay. Instead, he flew directly into the depths of the valley, because that place was even colder, and it was the place that the little white monkey wanted to go. Soon, he arrived at the depths of the valley. Cold winds blew around him, easily tearing the air apart. The coldness made warriors below the honorable realm not dare to get close. Chapter 867. In the depths of the Ice Frost Valley, the cold wind was bone-chilling. Martial artists below the honorable realm were unable to enter. Lin Xian's eyes flashed as he reached out his hand to grab a few times. He found that they were all ice lotuses. However, the quality of the ice lotuses here was better than the ones outside. But no matter how good they were not ice snow demonic lotuses. Lin Xian's target was the ice snow demonic lotuses. He released his soul power and quickly searched around. At this moment, another wave of spiritual energy came from behind, carrying a powerful aura. Lin Xian frowned and turned around. He found that there were more martial artists behind him. These people had powerful auras and were undoubtedly experts. It seemed that the others were not satisfied with the ice, snow demonic lotuses and wanted to find better ones. However, the demonic lotuses were not easy to find. Whether or not they could find them depended on their abilities. He retracted his gaze and was about to turn around when he saw a few more figures appear in the air. This time, his brows furrowed even tighter. These people were none other than Xiao Mei and the others from Blackwater City. Of the 6 of them, the one walking at the front was the incomparably flirtatious Xiao Mei, followed closely by the white-haired silver granny who was holding a walking stick. Behind them, there were 4 venerable realm warriors. Such a lineup was undoubtedly very powerful here. Lin Xian recognized them, and Xiao Mei naturally saw Lin Xian as well. Immediately, her lips curled into a devilish smile, and the charm on her face became abnormally strong. Gujiang Qi, I've finally found one again. Xiao Mei laughed out loud, especially when she found that Lin Xian was alone. She licked her lips without restraint. Little brother, we're fated to meet again. Xiao Mei swayed her waist and walked over with a smile. Behind her, the silver granny followed closely. The other 4 martial artists separated and looked around vigilantly. Lin Xian's face darkened. He did not expect to meet them here. However, he quickly smiled again. With his strength, he was not afraid of these people. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up as he said with a smile, "Yes, it's fate. How should I address you, sister?" Xiao Mei covered her mouth and laughed, her eyes filled with charm. "My name is Xiao Mei, is little brother alone. This place is too dangerous. Why don't you come with me?" At this point, Xiao Mei moved closer to Lin Xian. She was now less than 3 feet away from him. At this distance, Lin Xian could clearly smell the fragrance of the other party's body, as well as the faintly discernible naked body. However, he refused with a smile. "No, I still have something to do. I'll take my leave first." Lin Xian stopped smiling and turned to leave. "Aya, little brother, don't go." Xiao Mei's seductive voice carried a strange power that made one's limbs go soft. At the same time, she stretched out her jade-like hand to grab Lin Xian. In her palm, there was a tiny silver needle. If one didn't look carefully, they wouldn't have noticed it. This was the passion flower needle. The person hit by it would burn their entire body. If it wasn't released immediately, they would definitely explode and die. It could be said that this was an extremely sinister method. And now this poisonous needle was hidden in Xiao Mei's palm and was aimed at Lin Xian. If it was anyone else, they would have been hit. However, Lin Xian's soul force was extremely strong, and he immediately noticed the abnormality. He sneered and pointed his finger. On the tip of his finger, a sharp sword aura surrounded it, bringing with it a shocking blood aura that seemed to want to devour people. Ding! In one strike, the sword aura shattered the passion flower needle. Otherwise, the sword aura would have pierced through Xiao Mei's palm. Pooh! Blood flowed out, followed by a scream. Xiao Mei screamed and quickly retreated. She held her pierced palm and stared at Lin Xian fiercely. "You dare to hurt me?" "What a joke. You used a hidden weapon to attack me. So what if I hurt you?" Lin Xian laughed with disdain. "You're courting death." Xiao Mei was so angry that her body trembled. Kill him for me. Chop off his limbs. I want to suck his yang energy dry. Humph, I knew you weren't a good person. Lin Xian snorted. Seeing that the other party had shed all pretense of cordiality, he no longer had any scruples. After all, there were only a few of them here. Even if he killed Xiao Mei, it wouldn't be a big deal. At most, he would be hunted down by the people from Blackwater City. There were many people who wanted his life, and Blackwater City was nothing. Brat, you dared to hurt my family's Mississippi, kneel down and accept your death. Behind him, Grandma Silver's voice was cold as she waved the brown cane in her hand. The other 4 martial artists worked together to seal off the area, preventing Lin Xian from escaping. These people all looked at Lin Xian with a sinister smile, their bodies surrounded by killing intent. You were lucky to be able to escape last time. Today will be the day of your death. So it was you guys who did it. Lin Xian's face darkened. You dare to kill a disciple of Senmu College? You guys sure have guts. Humph, if you die, who will know that we killed you? Grandma Silver's voice was hoarse with a bone-piercing chill. That's true. Lin Xian nodded. Similarly, if you guys die, the people of Blackwater City won't know that I killed you. He punched out and blocked the snake-headed cane in the air. Brat, you're too arrogant. Die. Grandma Silver didn't say anything else and attacked with all her might. Boom! The terrifying energy exploded, shattering the surrounding icebergs. Countless mountains collapsed and rocks fell. Blocked it. Grandma Silver's pupils shrank. She was very surprised, and then her orange, peel-like old face became extremely ferocious. Attack! Attack together and kill him! A voice filled with killing intent reverberated. The 4 martial artists also growled and attacked. Formation! A low voice sounded, and 4 black formation flags appeared. They fluttered in the air and sealed the entire space. Buzz! 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 Black light flashed, and the black flags roared. The 4 flags continued to expand, like 4 black mountains, suppressing the surroundings. Terrifying black gas filled the air, enveloping the surroundings. A cold wind blew, and muffled thunder sounded. Humph, brat, let's see where you can escape this time. Grandma Silver laughed sinisterly as she walked over with her cane. Let's go. I've never thought of escaping. Lin Xian sneered. You still dare to be stubborn? Fine, I'll let you see my true strength. The old woman was very confident, and her eyes flashed. Grandma Silver, keep him alive. I must get his yang energy. Xiao Mei gritted her teeth and said from behind, Don't worry, Mississippi. I know what to do. Grandma Silver nodded, and her cold gaze once again enveloped Lin Xian. Boom! In the next moment, a powerful spiritual energy burst out from her body. Light flowed around her body, and her withered skin seemed to become lustrous. Not only that, the cane in her hand was replaced by a black flag. The black flag swayed, and a cold wind blew, tearing the ground apart. Brat, today I'll refine you into dregs. Grandma Silver laughed sinisterly and quickly waved the black flag in her hand. It was as if a dark cloud was floating. Countless black lights appeared, carrying a terrifying aura, and enveloped Lin Xian. Chapter 868. Granny Silver held a large black flag and waved it quickly. Black light bloomed and enveloped Lin Xian. Boom! Lin Xian swung his fists and unleashed a series of golden fist shadows that blotted out the sky and the sun. They were incomparably mighty as they blasted out in all directions. The golden fist collided with the black light, creating a rumbling sound. At the same time, the black flag around them also bloomed with light. Countless black auras fell down like a black waterfall, constantly surging and shaking the entire valley. Countless black auras rushed toward Lin Xian as if to devour him. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Golden light shone from his body, forming a huge shadow of a golden giant. It stood indomitable and tore apart the black auras. The golden giant was too terrifying. It directly uprooted an iceberg and smashed it toward Granny Silver and the others. Rumble! The scene was too shocking. An iceberg rose from the ground and quickly fell. A large black shadow was cast on the ground, covering the warriors. "Break for me!" Granny Silver snorted and quickly waved the black flag. A black flood dragon rushed out of the flag, its huge body smashing into the iceberg and shattering it. This collision caused a large crack to appear on the ground. It was a terrifying scene. "Suppress it with all your might," Granny Silver shouted coldly. At the same time, she waved the black flag in her hand, making the flood dragon more realistic. Around him, the 4 warriors also attacked. 4 flood dragons flew out and intertwined in the air to form a flood dragon diagram that enveloped Lin Xian. The black flood dragon diagram emitted a terrifying aura, as if it could suppress everything in the world. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He was ready to draw his long sword and attack with all his might. At this time the Crimson Dragon said, "Kid, there's a special aura fluctuation below." "Below? Fluctuation?" Lin Xian was stunned. Then he understood and his eyes lit up. In this Frost Valley, the only thing that could attract the Crimson Dragon's attention was probably the demonic Frost Lotus. As for below, it should be under the ice. Could it be that the demonic Frost Lotus is under the ice? Lin Xian thought. If that was the case, then the news must not be leaked. Otherwise, it would cause a lot of trouble. Lin Xian smiled as he looked at the pitch-black flood dragon diagram above him. Now was a good opportunity. He could use the Jiao dragon diagram as a cover to sneak under the ice. At the thought of this, Lin Xian quickly activated the Red Lotus armor and covered his body, forming a strong defense. In the next moment, the pitch-black Jiao dragon diagram crashed down. Boom! The entire ground was trembling, the earth was cracking, and the icebergs were shaking. A terrifying aura spread out in all directions. Seeing this scene, Grandma Silver and the others laughed. If he was struck by the flood dragon diagram, the brat would definitely die. Moreover, this flood dragon diagram had another special characteristic, and that was that regardless of whether a martial artist was dead or alive, it could still forcibly absorb yang qi. In this way, not only did he kill his opponent, but he also obtained the yang energy. It could be said that he had killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Xiao Mei also looked forward with a cold smile, her eyes filled with anticipation. With his yang energy, she might be able to break through to the 3rd heaven of the supremacy realm. In front of them, the black aura circled around and disappeared quickly. The 5 flood dragons roared and flew back into the 5 black flags. Grandma Silver waved her hand and grabbed the black flags back into her hand. In the next moment, her face suddenly changed. "What's wrong?" Xiao Mei asked with a frown. "There's no yang energy." Grandma Silver's face darkened. She carefully sensed and realized that the black flood dragon she had summoned back did not absorb the brat's yang energy. No. Xiao Mei was stunned. How is this possible? The black flood dragon is a treasure that absorbs yang energy. She did not believe it because she had never failed to use the black flood dragon before. "Unless he's not dead," Grandma Silver said coldly. "He's not dead? Then where did he go?" Xiao Mei asked. She was very anxious. After all, the brat's life depended on whether she could break through to the 3rd heaven of the supremacy realm. In the battle just now, we sealed off all directions. He had no chance to escape. The only place he could have gone is underground. Grandma Silver looked at the cracked ground in front of her with flickering eyes. Underground. Xiao Mei also looked in front of her. There was a huge crack in the ice layer that stretched for 1,000 meters. Then, she said anxiously, "Then what are we waiting for? Let's chase after him. We must catch him." "Miss, don't be impatient. The ice layer underground is not that easy to enter. The coldness down there is more than 10 times that above. If a supremacy sun went down, he would not be able to survive. Even a third heaven supremacy would not be able to stay down there for a long time. That brat is only a second heaven supremacy. Although his strength is comparable to a third heaven supremacy, it is impossible for him to stay down there for a long time. How about this? Let's wait here for 2 hours. If that brat doesn't come out after 2 hours, it means that he died down there. There's no need for us to wait any longer. It's better to look for other treasures." Hearing Grandma Silver's analysis, Xiao Mei nodded. "Okay, let's do it." The group sat there and waited patiently. However, after 2 hours, the brat still did not come out. "Miss, let's not wait any longer. Even a third heaven supremacy would have frozen to death down there. Damn it, damn it." Xiao Mei was so angry that she stomped her feet. She could not accept the fact that the yang energy that she had set her eyes on had run away just like that. Damn it! The brat would rather freeze to death down there than be caught by her. She was so angry. "Brat, I will catch your companions and suck their yang energy dry. Then I will torture them to death. You forced me to do this." Xiao Mei gritted her teeth. Her expression was ferocious. She snorted coldly and left quickly with Grandma Silver and the rest. After all, she had not come here to capture Lin Xian. She had a more important mission. Lin Xian arrived at the bottom of the ice layer. He immediately felt that the coldness around him was far more piercing than above. Without any hesitation, he activated the Red Lotus armor and released the concept of fire to resist it. A bright red armor covered his body. Flames danced on it, resisting the coldness around him. It had to be said that the Red Lotus armor was too powerful. Not only could it resist attacks, but it could also resist the coldness. Moreover, this was only an illusion. If it was made from the real armor, the effect would be heaven-defying. It seemed that when he returned this time, he would have to take back the Phoenix Blood Crimson Gold. Lin Xian decided that when he returned to the academy, he would bring people to the Wind City's Huang family and take back the Phoenix Blood Crimson Gold. He had already collected many rare treasures. In addition to the Phoenix Blood Crimson Gold, he could already make a small portion of the armor. With the support of the Red Lotus armor, the coldness around him was minimized. At least he could stay here for a long time. He did not know that Xiao Mei and the rest were still waiting outside. At this moment, he was using his soul power to sense the strange energy fluctuation. "Go further down. It's still below." The Crimson Dragon transmitted. "You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories."